Okay. This is day 2, part 2. Welcome back. Program design. We're helping you create the best program in your industry. A program that will give you the confidence to put your stuff out there, help more people, give you more case studies and testimonials, a better reputation that will get you more sales, just like it's done for me. Okay. So we're going to recap really quickly for 30 seconds. Was there anybody that wasn't here yesterday? Don't be embarrassed or anything. Just let me know, me, in the chat box if you weren't here, if this is your first day. So make sure you guys, that everyone that wasn't here yesterday, it's very important that you go back. Oh, Dara watched the replay already, and you go watch the replay. Jilly, can you confirm in the chat box that the replay has already been posted? I think that's obviously how people were able to watch the replay. Yeah, replay's up. So make sure you do that after this. Doesn't mean you can't watch today. Just go back and watch the replay. Okay, but here's what we covered. We started with this premise that those that can produce the best results for their clients and students today will be tomorrow's leaders. Who agrees with that? Who doesn't agree with that? No, that's not true. That's stupid. Yeah, helping people and actually giving them what they signed up for is not really important, right? Yeah, exactly. It's all about results, baby. And what's really getting in the way from so many students, and you guys actually had the evidence of that demonstrated yesterday, is so much about their beliefs, their perspectives. It's so much more about beliefs than most people realize. And say, I don't believe that. Well, there you go. They're everywhere, right? I don't believe that. Well, that's your belief. Yeah, because everything's a belief, including that statement. That's why it's really fun to say that, right? That's not true. Well, yeah, because it's a belief, which just reaffirms that everything's a belief. And it means that once you realize this, that you have the opportunity to develop the ability and ideally master it. I'm going to give you some simple tools today, but most people here, I'll just tell you this straight up from my experience, they won't practice it. It'll just be another thing that you, oh, I learned that already, and you don't use. But for those that actually practice and master this, you'll be able to shift one's belief, which means you'll be able to shift their life and actually get them the results that they signed up for. Just as you've noticed that's starting to happen with you, just from where you were when we started yesterday. You're not in the same spot that you were yesterday, are you? You've begun to change. You can notice that. Everyone here, right? That's what you're gonna learn today, by the way. Oh, and by the way, who did notice that they might have a few of those negative limiting beliefs themselves, specifically around designing their program? Type in a Y or a yes. Oh la la, so many. Yeah. No, not me. Everyone else but me. I don't have any limiting beliefs as a limiting belief, by the way. So let me ask you this. Who thinks they might have other limiting beliefs that are affecting their business and ultimately their results? No, this was it. I just had one about designing my program. Look, guys, we all have them. I just had some pointed out to me this morning. Not about business, but other areas of my life, you know? And I was like, oh, dang, I didn't even realize that. And all that matters is the more you become aware of this, the more you become mindful, the more you catch it. You can't do anything with that you can't see, right? Like you can't get broccoli out of your teeth if you don't know that you have broccoli in your teeth. The moment a good friend is like, yo, hey, Sophia, you got some broccoli in your teeth. You're like, oh my gosh, thank you, right? So you can't do anything with that which you can't see. So when we become more and more aware and present to this old operating system, these old stories, this old paradigm, guess what? There's so much more power that you have access to that you can change it. You're welcome. You're welcome for the broccoli. All right. So here's some to look at. You have beliefs around charging what you're worth. Or if I don't charge, if I charge too much, they won't buy. Right? Beliefs just around selling. Selling is bad. Selling is greedy. I don't like to sell. It's sleazy. What if they say no? I'm afraid they'll say no. If I sell, they will say no, and I will get rejected. There's a belief behind that. It's a belief about what a no means. So even look at that. What does a no mean to you? If you sell me your stuff right now, hey James, I could really help you get better haircuts. Would you like my training on how to do that? And I said no. What does that mean that I said no? Right? I got a really bad haircut, but any haircut right now is better than nothing. Okay, it's better than it was. Okay, most people have all these stories and meanings and interpretations about what a no means. And the thing is let me ask you this: two very important questions. Can you really in this industry make money not selling? Thanks, Camille. It is. No, you can't. So we know that you have to sell to be making the Benjamins. And if you're selling, can you avoid a no as part of that experience? No. So you can see how important these beliefs are. Okay, is this helping this make sense? We even just have beliefs about putting ourselves out there. Predictions. If I put myself out there, I'll look stupid. I'll look dumb. I won't look good. They'll make fun of me. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. I'm too this. I'm too that. You know, what will my family think? Oh my gosh, my mother. What will my mother think? What will my friends from high school think? What will my ex think? Get yourself a haircut. Then you can put yourself out there. Here's where a lot of people have some wonky stuff. Hiring. I can't afford to hire. You know, that's a funny one because the only reason you can't afford to hire is because you haven't hired anyone. You want to chew on that one for a second. I can't let go. I don't deserve great people. I mean, there is so much there. Spending money. Holy cow. Money is an energetic in and out flow. And if you're trying to hold on to money, you create a dam and you don't let that river flow. And by holding on to money too tightly, you're operating from a belief and a paradigm that there's a lack of money and more won't come to you. And so guess what? That reinforces that more isn't coming to you. By letting money flow through you, you start to operate and integrate behaviors and beliefs that there's more always coming. And when you know in your heart that more is always coming, what do you think happens? More comes. That's why some people right now during this time are like, okay, we got to tighten up right now and not spend as much. And then those same people that are tightening up right now are also noticing they're not making as much, right? Now, even Nicole, that's really great. Yeah, I'm afraid I'll spend money on the wrong thing and I'll waste it. And here's something that's going to really help with that, because I used to have that belief too. So first of all, money is infinite. So there's always more. So if you waste it and you're saying you waste it, the first thing you're saying is that there's such a limit and lack supply. Okay. We have a whole training in BBD on reframing and healing your money relationship, but this is just a little piece of it. But the second thing too is, what is your greatest investment in your life? What is the greatest investment that you could ever possibly make? Yeah, exactly. Yourself. BBD. Thanks, Stefan. No, it's you, sillies. It's you. Oh my gosh. You are this tool, your brain, your energy, your knowledge, your wisdom, your experience. And when you begin to look at yourself that way, that everything you go through couldn't possibly be a waste. Nothing that you experience is a waste, because what does it give you? It gives you experience, and experience gives you what? Wisdom. More wisdom means more credibility, more authority, more tools, more value to offer the world. And how many of you have gone through a course or a program, or you have invested in something and you were like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. What a waste. So upset. You know, blah, 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 shooting yourself in the foot. But maybe not until I bring it up right now, you can also realize, whoa, 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 whoa. I learned so much of how not to put a program together, of what not to do, and who not to be for my audience. Do you realize that you can learn even more by the contrast of what you're not getting? I can't tell you how many events I used to go to and people I used to learn from, and finally it clicked. I said, all the disappointments and the things that I didn't like that I was getting from them, I said, that's my opportunity. That's what I can do differently. Because I have to assume that if I'm disappointed, if I'm upset, if I'm, you know, complaining about this, that other people are too. And I'm going to make sure that I don't do that. That's how we change our beliefs, by the way. Okay. How about making money? Anyone have beliefs about making money? Like, you know, I just don't feel like I deserve that. That's a huge one. I'm unworthy of that. You know, or even just things like money. Is there anyone here that still thinks that money isn't spiritual? Like it's unholy and stuff to have money? That's a very dangerous one, because that's from past lives of, like, you know, churches basically saying money is bad and evil, so you should give it to the church. You know, oh, it's good to tithe, it's good to make offerings, it's good to donate, absolutely, from a place of abundance, but not from a place of I don't deserve this and I shouldn't have it. Yeah, money is an exchange of energy. That's all it is energy. Well, time, I think that's my next one. No, I didn't put time on here, did I? Time, there's a whole thing around beliefs around time, how much time it takes, how much time I have. You realize I don't have the time as a belief, right? How many times have you said that? Oh, I just don't have the time. I don't have the time. That's a belief. There's beliefs around failure, what failure means, or, you know, I wanted to avoid failure, make a mistake and looking stupid. Yeah, and even that, Rachel, like, I love money. So even that, it doesn't even lead to evil. I love money. Money is this tool, but I love everything. So I don't love it more than anything else. I love money because you all know here that if you had 10 times the amount of money you have right now, you could have a bigger impact. You could have a bigger team. You could do your best work with more money. Oh, I fucking love that. So I love money. I love what it has given me. I love that all I have to do is show up on this call because I have enough money that I've attracted in my business that I can pay amazing people to do all these other things that help support what we're doing. I love that. And hating money wouldn't really help at all, you know? So these are things that we address in Business by Design. And this is why so many students get results in BBD. Who's a BBD student already in here that's hanging out with us? We have a lot of BBD customers. Oh, man, look at all you guys. And so really behind the scenes, they're going to realize this for the first time, like, oh, SOB, that's what he's doing. That's what makes so sense. So BBD isn't open yet. It won't be open kind of, what is it, end of May right now? So like June 15th is when our free video series comes out. And then a few days after that, we open enrollment one time a year. So these are the 3 Ps that I'm operating from. And I want you guys doing this in your programs as well. So it can be as powerful for you. Number 1, it's principle-based teaching. So what do I mean by principle-based teaching? When I'm teaching something, when I am teaching something, I teach it at a principle level. So a principle is an unwavering fundamental truth. Even though James says everything is a belief, that becomes one of my principles. And so there are basic fundamental, they're not even basic, but you know, you can call them basic if you like, but there are fundamental principles about business, selling, and marketing that were true 100 years ago, and they'll be true 100 years from now. Principles, laws, like the law of compensation, law of, you know, opportunity cost, right? And these are important because if you're just teaching the quick how-to stuff, the surface level stuff, that stuff changes really fast. And so it's the whole idea of, you know, you know, what is it? It's, you know, teach a man to fish, you feed him for life, right? What is it? What's the first version of that? If you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. That's what it is. So when you're just teaching kind of like, here's this quick thing that worked today, you're giving them that thing. But when you go deeper to like, here's the fundamental, universal, timeless principle behind that, you're actually teaching that person how to fish or how to feed themselves for life. And that's what we do. Right? But there are universal principles behind business, around marketing, around pricing, around selling. Most people don't know them. They're just copying the surface, the superficial surface level stuff above the iceberg and not going deeper. And then, you know, for most of you here, when you create some sort of program, I'm a big fan of having a linear, I know some of you guys said yesterday, my stuff's not linear. But you can still, I believe you can still find linearity out of it because time is linear. The illusion of time that we're in is linear. We experience time in a linear fashion. So to take people on a journey of here are the steps and here's the order and here's the sequence is really going to help people. So you guys in BBD know this, right? BBD is very process driven. In fact, we call them the Lego instruction manuals for online business. Basically, whether it's creating your first lead page, lead magnet, landing page, Facebook ad, your first webinar, your first launch, etc. All of our students get a step-by-step process guide and execution map that they just follow. Just like a Lego instruction manual. You know, you could build a kit, your son or your daughter's Legos by following those steps, right? And so we're teaching principles and we're offering, no guesswork, no fill in the gaps, step-by-step processes. And then the third ingredient, which is the perspective shifting. When you can find your own version of this and your own way to teach this, what do you think that that's going to do to up-level your program? You're teaching principles. You're giving people some sort of sequence, agenda, steps, actions to follow and process. And look, I really do want to challenge that belief that my stuff's not linear, because I teach a lot of deeper stuff too. And I always put it in a linear framework. Anyone who's a next level member and they go to one of our 2-day transformative workshops, we're uncovering and dealing with a lot of stuff, but it's still in a linear process. There's foundation. Just even looking at this, there was a process to understanding beliefs and understanding and uncovering your own beliefs. And now there'll be a linear process to follow to help you do this for your students. How much is BBD? A lot of money. And then we have a couple of options for BBD, so we'll let you guys know when that's available. So then the third thing is perspective shifting, which is belief change, and facilitating and supporting your students in helping them to see things differently, because how you see the world determines what's possible for you. I know, Jeff. You guys, look, that's really great. You're going to start to see, and that's what I want you to, you're like Neo waking up to the Matrix. You're going to be like, that's a belief, that's a belief. I want you to keep doing that. Even Tiffany's doing it. Beliefs are everywhere. What I just said was a belief. And it's a belief that I said that that's just a belief. I mean, it's everywhere. And it's not to go crazy doing it, but it's to notice, it's to create an opportunity for you to make things a little bit less rigid and stuck in your life and your students' lives. People come to me with a problem. Let me ask you, this is a really important question. I really want you guys to hear this. How many of you are already selling coaching or programs in some level? Type in a 1. Okay. How many of you got to be honest with me, to say me, that you've had an experience where a paying customer has come to you with a problem after they went through your program. Like, I did what you said and it blew up in my face. And you're like, oh crap. Okay. That is anybody and you said, oh no, it's a problem. That is one of the biggest mistakes that you could ever make. In your mind, you're like, oh crap, they had a problem with my stuff. One of the worst things that we could be doing, because you've heard it before. It's a little cheesy and cliche, but what comes right before the breakthrough? Yeah, the breakdown. If you guys could just get that when you get on your coaching calls next with your students, or you log into your members' Facebook group and someone says, oh my gosh, this blew up in my face. I want you to put on your imaginary transformation gloves and say, oh boy, it's time we're getting to work, because there's a breakthrough right here. This is the first thing I train my team of coaches on. We get so excited when people are in their crap. We get so excited when people freak out. We get so excited when people melt down and just throw their arms up and everything's chaotic, because that's where the real work begins. Do you really think you can really help people if they're like, oh, everything's fine. It's always fine. It's okay. No problems. Everything's that's where you come alive. That's where you're needed, is in those moments. Okay. I hope you guys get that. So look, I'm just going to share with you. This is what people say. this is Brad. This is from a month after being in the program last year. Hands down, the best business program ever created, because those are the 3 things that we're focusing on. By the way, that was a framework that I showed you. You guys are going to learn frameworks today as well. So I'm using a framework to show you how we can chunk up to the 3 things that we should really be focusing on our program. Now I'm sharing, and this is another thing you're going to learn today, in a few hours, an hour or so, is how to use specifics to back up what it is you're teaching. So this is Brad saying the best business program's ever been created. When he purchased, he was $90K in debt. He was making $30K a year as a group fitness instructor. Now he's doing $30K a month, right? These are just examples of people saying, I've taken so many courses, webinars, spent thousands, and I've never been blown away like this. Do you think someone is blown away by your stuff simply because you're like, here's 7 steps how to do this, right? As you learned from Jen, it's so much more than just the how-to, okay? Here's the proof that it works every time, thanks to BBD, right? And this is my I have to show this. This is our favorite image. And this is the type of stuff that you want from your student. We did not ask for this. We did not ask for this. We asked for permission to share this. All of these we've asked for permission with. But this is the type of stuff that our students just create and post. I mean, talk about an image, right? A picture is having 1,000 words. Now, you know, before I share this anywhere else, I'll make sure we even know what the numbers are, you know, the monetary numbers. But look at how, as a visual, she created that, you know. You want your students doing that. You want your students to be able to become your marketing and sales force. And that's not going to happen until you're implementing the stuff that we're talking about here, okay? That's how we make our stuff the best. And just by understanding that your people are going to have limiting beliefs and the tools you're going to get today to help them to work through those beliefs, game over. Game over, okay? That's what we do in BBD. I help with all the beliefs, but there's still a process and there's still business, marketing, and sales principles that you're taught. So also yesterday, God, we did learn a lot, didn't we? We learned from Jen. How amazing was Jen, by the way? Isn't she awesome? We learned about the different learning styles. We learned about your different learning style, right? And we learned what I so love, which is why I really wanted to bring her back in, because it's my favorite part, is the why, what, how, what if method. I mean, it just gives so much more structure to what we're doing, you know, like whether it's a module or whatever, right? So that's the recap. Here's what today is. There's 3 important things. 3 important things that you're going to learn today. I'm going to give you a very powerful framework for conversational belief change. Now you can use this anywhere, but you know, we're keeping this the context of your programs as part of your teaching. You're going to get a crash course in frameworks from my surprise guest speaker. Mel, are you in the house yet? Let me know. Put a chat in the chat box if you're here yet. I don't know if he's going to come on later. Oh, he's here. Great, man. So Mel, who knows Mel, by the way? Mel is like, he's just become, I don't know, one of the core staples of our community, because he's like, you know, there's like a jack of all trades, but he's like, and then like, but the master of none, he's like a master of all trades, you know. And when you've been alive as long as he has, you know, you probably do start mastering a few things. And one of the things that he does so well is he can take any complex subject or training and put it into a framework. In fact, when he saw me speaking at one of our first BBD lives, he was sitting in the front row and I saw him, it looked like he was just taking a ton of notes. And he came and he pulled me aside and he goes, here, check this out. And he took my entire presentation that I had said and he had created it into a framework in real life. He goes, this will help you teach it more effectively next time because people will have the visuals to see it. I was like, are you free? That's what you were doing? He's like, yeah. So he's going to help you guys do that a little bit today with your stuff so that more people can see it. They can understand it. They can conceptualize it. They can see where they are in it. And it's just going to be so powerful. Okay. Oh, and then I got 13 nitty gritty, stupid, simple, actionable things that you can like immediately implement into your programs to take them to the next level. These are all things we do with BBD. BBD is now far more than $10 million in sales in 3 years and rising. And you're going to see all these things that we bake into it. Cause I want it to be the best, not from a competition standpoint, but from the people that are going to invest, they deserve that. So I want it to be the best. I want it to be the best for them. So you're going to see all the things that I do in that program. So it's a really behind the scenes thing. Okay. Now, again, who did the homework? Who did it? Cause we're getting into this. Good, good, good. Okay, sweet. So pull it up, bring it up, because here's how this is going to work. Obviously, that's where we're going to start. Are you guys ready to learn how to change the world by changing people's beliefs? Now, here's the thing. This is what I'm going to introduce you to is a giant world of stuff. I've taught 2-day workshops on it. I teach this for like months to our coaching team. And you're getting a dose of it today. You're getting enough to be lethal with it, but it goes so much deeper than this. So if anybody here who knows some of this is like, there's more, and it's like, of course there's more. I'm trying to give you the, the 80-20, the 20% right now that you can run with, and you will be able to run with this. Okay. So let's do this. I want to introduce you to a framework that I created. This is an image I created. Okay. So here's what I need to make this work. You can draw this image out. You can take a picture on this. Yeah, Aaron's seen this. Some people have seen this because I use this in different ways. So our existing students should know this. So here's what I need. I need a volunteer who did the homework. And I need you to type in, if you're a volunteer, I need you to tell me what your niche is in the comments. Okay, so Rosetta, can you unmute yourself, or do I have to? I think I have to unmute you, and I have to sneeze. Woo! Or Jilly, can you unmute her? Rosetta. Yep, are you there?
Hi.
Did I say how good did I get your name?
That was good. That was good. Everyone calls me Ro though. So
Ro?
I'm the Ro one. So I switched.
Oh, that's you. Okay. So you have multiple identities. Okay. So can I just call you Ro? Oh, did I lose it? Wait. You still there?
Yeah, you can just call me Ro.
Okay, great. Okay, tell us really quickly what it is that you do. Who do you help? How do you help them?
I teach pre-med students how to get into medical school with my Future Doctor Formula program.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Have we ever talked before? Is this the first time we're hanging out?
No. We had a hot seat with Jill and Josh when I bought BP. Yeah.
I remember that now. Okay, I was like, I know this niche. Okay, great. And you went by Ro then?
Yes.
Okay, great. So here's the first step. So see the top thing, specific action. That's what we're going to start with. Okay, I'm actually going to make it the first thing. What is one specific action that you came up with? Well, actually, give me a specific result that you came up with for them. Like, what's a result that they want?
So well, ultimately they want to get into medical school.
Yeah,
so
get into medical school. Okay. That's at the highest level. Okay, go ahead.
And then below that would be write a really good personal statement.
Okay, so let's do that as one. Have a personal statement. Okay, great. So that's kind of the result and the action. It's like write a personal statement. The result is that personal statement. So that's what we're going to use here as the specific action. Okay. So then what is the belief or a belief? There's obviously could be several, right? Was one belief that someone could have that would prevent them from writing that personal statement? And by the way, guys, you guys want to pay attention very closely because I'm using a real example as we go through this. So, it doesn't matter if it's not your niche because the examples are universal. What would be a belief there?
So what's interesting is I have a success belief module within my program. And so I have their exact words.
Yeah.
And basically they'll say things like, I've always felt that I was never going to be the smartest.
Okay.
And felt
yeah. We're just going to use that. We're just going to use that one. That's all we need right now. I'm not the smartest. Okay, great. So then this is how this works. So we identify the mistake, the misconception, or the belief. Okay, so when you guys hit it head on, you're going to be so much more powerful. Okay, so that's really the first step. We're getting clear on the result. We're clear on the action. We're asking ourselves a step deeper, to go deeper with our content. What belief might this person have that may prevent them from doing this thing or getting that result? And one that Ro came up with is, I'm not the smartest. Okay, so there it is. That's our first part. The next thing we can do is we can start to do what's called an unwanted identity. Okay, so they want to get into med school, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you call somebody that has been trying to get into med school but can't?
A pre-med.
A what?
A pre-med.
Well, yes, but they've been, what else would you call someone who's tried to get into med school and they failed the test? Or failed whatever you fail? Like you can, this is something for you guys to think deeper on, but let's just for example, like a flunked out pre-med, or a second timer, or a third round test taker, or whatever. You see what I'm kind of going with? But I don't know your niche nearly as well as you would, obviously. Did you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Okay. Or even just someone struggling to pass the test the first time, or those that failed.
So I guess like a rejected.
Yeah. Okay. Rejected. Those who failed, those who were rejected. Okay. Failed, rejected. Okay. And then what would you say is the consequence of holding on to this belief that I'm not the smartest?
Sorry, you cut out a little bit.
Did I cut
so
out?
I guess rejected or failure.
No, that's great. Okay. So now, Ro, can you hear me okay? Can you guys hear both of us okay? There might be a little connection issue here.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the consequence of this belief? I'm not the smartest. Can she hear me okay? Can you guys hear me okay? You can hear me? Okay.
They hold themselves back from.
I think there's a massive lag here, but we'll do the best we can. But yeah, give me a consequence to this belief. Oh yeah, you can turn your video off. That will help too. Thank you.
So I guess it would be would just sabotage and not write the personal statement, maybe even hesitate when taking the MCATs. They delay, procrastinate until they're looking for that feeling of being smart enough.
Yeah, great. That works. Totally. Love it. Okay, but that's really important for you guys to say, we got to really look at what's the consequence of holding on to this, because obviously if there's no consequence, then it's not a limiting belief. It's only limiting if it has a consequence. Like, my success is inevitable doesn't have a consequence. I am enough doesn't have a consequence. I mean, like a negative, bad consequence, right? I am worthy, I am loved. Those don't have consequences. Okay. So the next thing so this is the first part. There's 3 parts to this framework. The first part we just did. So I could sit here now and take Ro's information and say, hey guys, welcome to module 2.1, crafting the perfect personal statement, right? Is that what you called it? Personal statement?
Yeah, personal statement.
Okay. Personal statement. And we could start to say the big why here. Like with Jen's framework, like, why it's important to have this. But before we continue, I want to address something that I've noticed time and time again from some of the struggling pre-med students who have probably failed the test 1 or 2 times. that comes up for them, and it might be coming up for you right now, and it might be the very thing that's getting in the way from you taking action in this module so that you can end this training with a personal statement that you're proud of and with a personal statement that's going to actually help you pass the MCATs. And that's this whole silly idea or belief that a lot of us cling on to or hold on to, this idea that I'm just not the smartest. And if I'm not the smartest, I can't have a great personal statement. Now, is that you? Because the real problem is for those that hang on to that belief, what ends up happening is they hesitate. They hesitate on actually doing the work. They start to doubt themselves. They even start to self-sabotage, constantly procrastinating the inevitable, which is the date of your test. And if you procrastinate too much, then we already know what's going to happen. Well, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, doesn't it? You don't end up passing the test. And it confirms this silly idea that you're not the smartest. Okay, so that's the first three. Okay,
yeah.
Did you see how we did that?
Yeah, that was great.
Did everyone else see how we did that? You guys know I know nothing about pre-med. I don't know what a personal statement really is.
I'm gonna get you to med school, James.
I've never written a personal statement. I don't know at all what that is. I really don't even know what the MCATs are. It sounds very important test to get you to become a doctor or something. Okay, so doesn't that mean that you guys too can follow a simple framework? But that's only 1/3 of it. Okay, the second section is the shifting of the belief. I'm not going to teach you that yet, Ro. I'm going to go through this, and because we're going to go deeper with that section. That's some juicy training. But you're going to do a thing that's going to shift that belief so that they no longer believe I'm not the smartest. Okay, we still haven't shifted the belief. They can still sit there and say I'm not the smartest. Okay, and I have some ways in which I can do it. But there's a lot of ways that you can do it. And that's going to be the real powerful part. And then after you shift that belief, what's going to happen is they're going to soften and let go of that perspective for a moment, and they're going to move to a new perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have an opportunity to open them up to a new belief, a new behavior. So what might that new belief be? If we started with I'm not the smartest, what might be a new belief that's going to help them moving forward?
Well, I kind of focus in on, like, it's not about people attach smartest with scores, but to be a good doctor, you have to be the most passionate.
Beautiful. It's Yep. It's about being smart enough and being the most passionate, something like that. So being passionate. Okay, so now you can't just say that. It's like you are the smartest and just be passionate. Like that probably doesn't. Oh, okay. Gosh, I didn't think of it that way. But what's going to really help with this is see what we did at the top section. Unwanted identity and consequence. What would you guess now that we have this new one about being passionate? What do you think is going to be on the left arrow on the bottom of the page?
The unwanted identity associated with being passionate. Is that what you're saying?
No, try again. This is good. I like people to think. Some people are posting it. So if the thing that we don't want them doing, we've linked that to an unwanted identity. If I say broke entrepreneurs always undercharge, while the most successful entrepreneurs always charge what they're worth, which one do you want to be? Do you want to be a broke or a successful entrepreneur? All right. So what do you think goes on the left bottom here? Instead of unwanted identity, it's...
Oh, the wanted identity.
Yeah, desired identity. Yeah. Who do they want to be, right?
Okay. Yes.
And so they want to either be, someone who passed the test, they want to be successful, whatever it is, right? So you don't even need to, some people come up with terms, and that's great. You don't need to.
Yeah.
Okay. But that would be the person that's passed the test, right? A test passer. Okay. And then instead of a consequence, it's a benefit. And now what your guys are doing, this is going to just change the game forever, what I'm about to say. When you're marketing, your messaging, your coaching and teaching changes from I know everything and I'm going to talk at you to simply being an observant reporter, you are going to be 10 times more effective. So all Ro needs to do is say, but what I've noticed time and time again is that those that actually passed the test and went on to have successful careers weren't the smartest. They were the most passionate. And when you too adopt this mindset, benefit, benefit, benefit.
That's great.
Okay. So the only part that's missing really is discrediting or shifting or limiting that negative belief. And we're going to do that next. But let me ask you, Ro, personally, other than the shift belief section, which I haven't taught yet, any question on this?
So in my program, I label the unwanted identity as being a pre-med and the desired identity as being a future doctor.
No, it's not. Your unwanted identity is not being a pre-med, because they are a pre-med.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to do is label that identity so that they can associate themselves with it. So I want them to call
but you don't. Wait. So people don't want to associate with an unwanted identity.
Right. So I want to call them future doctors instead.
Well, yes. Wait, hold on. I really want you guys to get this. So there's 3 identities. There's who they are, and then the identity they don't want anything to do with. And then there's the identity that they want to move towards. So who they are is a pre-med. Who they don't want to be is a pre-med that keeps failing the test.
Okay.
Who they want to be is what?
A future doctor.
Yeah, the future doctor. Okay, does this make sense? It's a very important distinction. Unwanted identity is who are they afraid of becoming? Who do they not want to become? They don't want to be the person that takes the test, like you could have so much fun with this, Ro. Like you could be like a 3rd time's a charm test taker where it takes you 3 or 4 times before you pass the test.
Yeah.
Right? Or a dropout, worse, a dropout, right? They don't want to become that person. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. And yeah, I saw someone say something about future doctor. I don't know if they don't want to become a future doctor. They want to be a doctor in the future. So it's a test passer is basically a bad example of a desired identity. You want to be someone who passes it the first time. That's what they want.
Right.
Okay. So this is very important. There's who they are right now. And right now they're pre-med, right? They're pre-med. They're looking to pass the test and all that type of stuff. What they don't want to be is a person that fails and gives up. What they do want to be is the person that does pass. You could call them a one-take wonder. Like that's an identity, like, yeah, I want to be the one-take wonder. I want to be the person that takes it and is done with it on my first time. Now, again, I don't know your stuff, so I can't actually answer these for you and say that's the right answer. But those are examples of what an identity would look like.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. All right. So good?
Got it.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you, Ro. And I think you can mute yourself on that, hopefully. Appreciate that. Okay. Pretty simple, right, guys? Now we just need to learn that 3rd part, right? Which is the part 2, the belief shifting. But this makes sense for you guys so far? Is this something you guys could each do? Remember, you're the reporter. What I've noticed with so many struggling blanks is they think blah, blah, blah. And maybe that's what you've been thinking too. And if it is, then here's what's going to happen. Right? Okay. Boom. All right. So 3 ways to change your belief. You ready? The first way is changing the meaning. You change what something means. Okay? So here's a great example. Saying mean things means you're a bad person. If you say mean things, that means you're bad. That means you're mean. No, it doesn't. It means I'm honest. And only a good friend would be this truly honest with you. That's changing the meaning. You guys see that? A doesn't equal B, it equals C. Selling doesn't mean it's slimy, it means it's a service. Being an expert doesn't mean you're the best in the world. It means you know something that others want to learn. I'm changing the meaning on you guys all the time. You guys see that? To the meaning that's going to be most empowering for you. A doesn't equal B, it equals C. Okay, who has read this poem, Footprints in the Sand? Say me or I. My wife read this to me one night, and it was the night before, or 2 nights before I actually taught this material for the first time, and I said, oh my goodness, there's a whole meaning change. So I'm going to read this to you guys. This is beautiful. Margaret Fishback Powers, Footprints in the Sand. It's so good. And you're going to now find out why. So Veronica's saying, Chelsea's saying, like, this has been my favorite poem. I love this poem. You're going to know why you love this poem is because the poet is doing the same thing that I'm teaching you right now. It's one little change. So watch this. Everyone just kind of be present to it. Read along with me, okay? One night I dreamed a dream as I was walking along the beach with my Lord. Across the dark sky flashed scenes from my life. For each scene, I noticed 2 sets of footprints in the sand, one belonging to me and one to my Lord. After the last scene of my life flashed before me, I looked back at the footprints in the sand. I noticed that at many times along the path of my life, especially at the very lowest and saddest times, there was only one set of footprints. Now, this really troubled me, so I asked the Lord about it. Lord, you said once I decided to follow you, you'd walk with me all the way. But I noticed that during the saddest and most troublesome times of my life, there was only one set of footprints. I don't understand why, when I needed you the most, you would leave me. He whispered, my precious child, I love you and will never leave you. Never, ever during your trials and testings. When you saw only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you. So who can identify the meaning that the author had and what we'll say the Lord, how the Lord changed the meaning? Who can identify that? Yeah, Lola got it. Very good. So just to break this down for you guys, just so you see this, okay? So people are in tears and they're crying, right? You're crying partly, majorly because, number one, it's a universal experience. We've all had hard times in our life where we felt alone. But why this was so moving was because of the shift in meaning. That's it. The same tools that you're learning right here. Okay, so let me show you. Let me move this out of the way and do some formatting. Okay. Oops, not that one. Hold on, guys. No color fill and a little border. Okay. So something happened. So what was it that happened? There was only one set of footprints. Okay, so that's the first thing. Okay, that's what happened. That was the evidence. That was the facts. There's only one set of footprints. Okay, and then they put a meaning on it. So what was the meaning? You left me. Okay, so one set of footprints means you left me. A equals B. Okay, pay attention to this, guys. There was only one set of footprints. A means equals you left me. And then all the Lord had to do, freaking Lord, was no, no, no. One set of footprints didn't mean I left you. It means I carried you. Freaking Lord. You guys get that? A doesn't equal B, it equals C. That's the whole poem. Because when you change the way someone sees the world, their world changes. That's the power you have every single time that you interact with a student, a customer, or a client. It's pretty powerful, okay? And that's what you're learning how to do. It's like learning how to paint. You'll learn the principles, you'll get the paint brushes, but what are you going to paint with that? What are you going to paint? You know, this is what this author painted. What are you going to paint? Okay. Helpful? All right. So what was the first way to change a belief? Change the, put it in the chat box. Yeah, change the meaning. Okay. Next way, change the cause. I'm putting my AC on here because the sun is beating down on me right now. Change the cause. Okay. Cancer causes death. It's a real example. Okay. No, giving up is what causes death. Cancer doesn't cause death. Giving up causes death. 5 words. This saved somebody's life, by the way. This is an example, a real example. It saved someone's life. 5 words. Right? But we don't do that. We just go, oh no, you're going to be okay. And I'm here for you. You know, obviously it's great to be there for somebody, but most people are just offering advice. They're being a cheerleader. They're saying compliments. And they're saying nice things. And they're not actually offering anything that could shift the way someone sees the world. So I had a client on a hot seat that had a breakdown, and she, you know, she said, she kind of broke down and just basically said, I'm stupid. Now, most of us, well, not most of us, but some of us here, we probably can surmise that that was something that, a belief that was formed at a very young age. Okay, you guys are focusing too much on cancer. These are just examples. we don't need to go into cancer conversations. I mean, we can later, but so this person said, I'm stupid. And so we can imagine that probably, you know, that happened at a young age, right? Like she got a bad grade, or a teacher said something, or mom said something, or whatever, right? And she just decided at a young age. And so now she's in her 40s, and how many times has she been reinforcing this belief that she's stupid? Probably a lot. And so when she said it, I love my mastermind so much, but all they did was, what would you think if one of your friends is like, I'm just stupid. I'm just too stupid. I can't figure this out. Yeah, no, you're not. Like, think about how silly that is. Think about how silly that is. Someone who spent like 40 years of their life declaring and living that belief. And we just go, no, you're not. Oh, I'm not? I thought I was. Right? So I wasn't going to attack it or tackle it or dismantle it in that moment. I know everyone's got an answer. It's their identity, blah, 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 blah. Don't worry about that, guys. Just stay present to what we're talking about. So she had another belief there. The belief was that if she's stupid, she can't make money or she can't be successful. So here's all I said to her, and it changed everything. I said, stupid or smart, making money has nothing to do with intelligence and has everything to do with energy, vibration, and alignment. And you and I both know there are people way dumber than us making far more money than you and I are. So for that day, she could continue to, you know, hold on to a little bit of that she's stupid. But, you know, there's actually really nothing wrong with being stupid. You can actually turn that into a really positive thing, because being stupid can mean you have a lot to learn. Where you get in real troubles, where you think you know everything, where you start getting a little cocky and think you're really smart, right? What I wanted to address was not, you know, what people are saying is an identity of stupid, but what does that mean about her business, success, and money? Yeah, even Forrest Gump made a lot of money. My favorite line from Forrest Gump was when he invested in that fruit company, apples. I invested in some apples, and then I didn't have to worry about money no more. That's good. One less thing. One less thing, just money, one less thing. Isn't that amazing? You know, she thought the lack of money was being caused by her intelligence. No, it was being caused by her lack of alignment, a lack of vibrational alignment. That's it. I just changed the cause. Thank you, Marissa. All right, do you guys get that? Okay, so changing the cause. And the third one, there's other ways, but these are the only three I'm teaching you guys today. Challenge comparisons. So some of you guys have already done that with me. Like, it's too expensive. Compared to what? In what way? People are like relative beings, so they have to compare it to something. Like, is $1,000 a lot of money? Well, it is for a candy bar, right? Can you imagine spending $1,000 on a candy bar? That's a lot of money. Not for a Lambo, Jeff. Not for a Lambo. That's right. Okay? So 3 ways. Got it? Good. So those are the 3 high-level ways. Now you're going to learn 3 specific ways that you're doing that, whether it's changing the meaning or changing the cause or comparison. It's 3 ones: consequence, counterexample, and metaphor. Okay? Consequence, counterexample, metaphor. Really fun. So here's the consequence. Starts with a metaphor, ironically. I am teaching you consequence through a metaphor. Yes, everything I do is multi-layered. Get on my level. All right. So there's a story that I love to tell, and it's probably not a true story. It's one of those like made up fables, but I love it. The story is about this young businessman. He's in a town he's never been before. I'm going to say this town is like Charleston. Okay, because Charleston is one of those towns that has all those like porches, like beautiful old like Victorian style homes. I don't know what the style they are, but they got these porches. And as he's walking down one of these neighborhood streets, you know, and he's in his business suit because he's a businessman, he starts to notice a dog whimpering in the distance. And so it starts to catch his ear, you know, perk his ear up, catch his attention. And as he approaches the house, he notices an old man just kind of sitting there nonchalantly, not reacting, kind of in a daze, just chilling there. And next to him, sure enough, is this old dog. And the dog is whimpering. Now, this young businessman is concerned, just like any of you guys would be, right? If you heard a dog, you know, in pain, you know, I'm a huge dog lover, so it's not a real story. It's a made up story, guys. But he hears this dog in pain, so he's concerned, right? You would be too. And so he goes, sir, is it your dog? It seems like it's in pain. Why is it whimpering? The old man, without batting an eye, without any type of reaction, just slowly turns his head, looks at the man, looks at the dog, and then looks back at the man. And you go, oh, thanks, Jacqueline. Of course, ruins it for people, but says, oh, he's sitting on a nail. Why do people have to say it before we do it? He's sitting on a nail. And the man goes, oh my gosh, he's sitting on a nail. Why doesn't the dog get up? And the old man simply says, Jacqueline, what does he say? Because it hurts too much. It hurts too much. So this is how most people are living their lives. And, you know, a lot of you guys are too. You're in a little bit of pain called a problem. And then someone comes around and offers you something like, hey, here's how you can launch this program, make more money. But we've actually associated more pain with the change. We associate more pain, if we associate more pain with the change, doing what we need to do, like get up, we won't do it. Because we're wired to avoid pain. And guess what? Until your students can associate more pain with staying on the nail, they will never get up. No matter how good your teaching is. Oh, but I gave them the most clear and simple steps. Yeah, but they've associated too much pain with doing the steps, too much fear, too much worry. What if it takes too much time? What if I'm a bad mother? What if I can't have a business and be a mom and a wife? And all the pain associated with doing your program. So until you can show them the cost and consequence of an action, will people move? Will they do what they're here to do? Will they solve their problem? Very few will. You guys get that? Is this making sense? So, for every, and we gave an example of it already with the framework, but for everything that they're not doing, you can start to identify what is the cost or consequence of not doing it. And until the consequence of not doing it is bigger than the cost of doing it, they won't do it. And then when you expand any problem or limiting belief over time, what automatically happens? Like if you come to somebody or someone comes to you and you're like a fitness, nutritionist, weight loss kind of person, and they're like, well, the big problem right now is like, I just have some bad eating habits. Oh, like what's one of them? Like, I eat a pint of ice cream every night before bed. Well, in their mind, they're like, it's not that big of a deal. But then if I said, well, let me ask you this, what do you think would happen to your weight, your cholesterol, your energy, your skin, if you ate a pint of ice cream every night for the next 2 years straight, right? Over time, the consequence will always expand. And so people might be like, well, it's not a big problem today, but what about over time? Do you want to wait until your clients are in worse pain than they are right now? Why would you do that? All right? So guess what? Who noticed that that's exactly what we did yesterday? Who noticed that one of the first exercises we did was we got clear on what the cost of an action is? If you guys wanted to have a $10,000 a month program, it's costing you $10,000 a month not to do it. It's the monthly, just like we said, it's a monthly loss of income. And a lot of times people aren't looking at the cost of inaction, the cost of not doing. And that cost is always greater. So I took you guys through an exercise to experience that. I said, how much do you want to sell it for? How many units you want to sell? And whatever number you give me, that's how much it's costing to not do this. Okay? So that's consequence. So what's the consequence of this belief? What's the consequence of this perspective? And when that consequence is enough, and then some people, might have a belief here that say, but that's just like pain mongering or fear mongering. No, it's not. Not if it's not a lie. If it's true. Right? If it's true, then it's true. What will happen to you if you eat a pint of ice cream every night before bed? For the next year, for the next 2? You know, someone who's in a who's about family and relationships. Oh, I haven't talked to my daughter, and we're not on speaking terms. Okay, well, on your deathbed, you know, do you want to actually pass the next 30 years of your life not having had a relationship with your daughter? Or what if something were to happen to her? You know, or how about when she gets married? Right? You're just expanding the problem through time. And that'll move someone. Okay? Questions on this? And Blanca, that's not even to consider the future revenue, right? That's still to come. Yeah, we're getting meta about being meta. Okay. Can you do the opposite to focus on the loss of the positive? Well, that's a consequence. The loss of the positive is what I did. You're losing out on $10,000 a month, but every day that you tell yourself a limiting belief that I'm not good enough, ready enough, I don't know how enough to put out my program. Isn't it more important that you put something out there and start getting feedback than continue to waste time and money, you know, not taking action? How does this apply to a niche that has yet to experience their pain? Future pace. You take them out into the future. What will happen if you don't do this? There's always a consequence, guys. There's not there. Trust me. Otherwise, that would be a belief. All right. Okay. Next one. So that's one. Counter example. Counter example is really simple and really powerful. Someone thinks it's true. What is true? This is true 100% of the time. Yes, this is number 2. Okay. So if it's true, it means it's always true. Like, anyone who sells is sleazy. Or selling is sleazy as a truth means that everyone that sells has to be sleazy. All you got to do is find an exception. You find an exception, it softens it to say that it's not exactly true. Because if someone else is doing it, you know, then it's not true. Yeah, there you go. Greg already got one. Really? Girl Scouts sell cookies all the time. Are they sleazy? Are you going to, you know, your daughter sells Girl Scout cookies door to door. Are you going to say that your 9-year-old daughter is sleazy? Oprah sells. Is she sleazy? Yeah, people are selling masks to protect people. Are they sleazy? See, that's a counterexample. That's it. That's it. You just got to find a counterexample. Do you know how hard it is? So A equals B, you're just looking for when does A not equal B. That's it. So if you know the belief, you just look for the counterexample. And if A causes B, you just look for when A doesn't cause B or when A causes C. Right? So one of my favorite ones to share is you got to, you know, work hard. You got to hustle to be successful. So A is hustle equals B, success. Okay? But how many people do we see hustle, A, that aren't successful? C. How many people do we know? Maybe someone in this room, I might be talking to you, that's working your tail off and you have nothing to show for it. So is it really true that if you just work harder, you'll be more successful? And then Samantha says, I so want to believe that you don't have to work hard to be successful. Well, you can do what you want. But the reason that you haven't let go of it is because it gives you something, right? We get a benefit out of believing that you have to work hard to be successful. And it goes into some deep stuff. for a lot of us, it's because we don't feel worthy or deserving of success, but then we've created a survival strategy that the more we work and sacrifice, the more deserving we become. So then we want to be successful, but we don't feel deserving of it. But if we work harder and longer, then maybe we will become deserving of it. So what do we end up focusing on? Just working harder. For what purpose? To be deserving. But we don't even know how hard we have to work in order to be deserving of it. So fun stuff. Okay. Did you guys see that I did that with you guys? Remember that belief number 3 yesterday? Gosh darn it, someone's already doing what I want to do. There's already an expert out there. And I just said, do you know that there's other people doing what I do? By the way, this is a meta because I did 2 patterns in here. I used myself as a counterexample. I said, do you think I have that belief? And then I made a consequence related to counterexample. Do you guys see how amazing this stuff can be? Is then I said, where do you think I would be consequence if I held that belief? And then some of you had an opportunity to see yourself through my story. So I was the counterexample. Now, yes, that can technically be another pattern, but I'm keeping this counterexample for people who know what I'm talking about, okay? This counterexample, it's exception to the rule. It's when A doesn't equal B. A doesn't cause B. Here's the thing. Blanca asked a question. Is that going to sound insulting? Well, that's your belief that you know, sharing this is going to insult people, and that's a fear that it's going to. And the truth is you're not insulting anybody when you are a reporter. Does a reporter, maybe this is the worst time to do this, but does a reporter that's just sharing facts and just reporting, are they insulting people? If you said the truth is there's a lot of very talented photographers out there that are flat broke, who does that offend? That doesn't insult anybody. Fake news. Okay, so that's all it is. Okay. Okay, now here's the third one. Metaphor. Metaphor is my favorite. I love metaphors. What's a metaphor? If you got metaphors, I hands down believe is the most when it's used right. It doesn't always work well in certain copy because a lot of people's metaphors are like put in the wrong places. Like if you created a program that's like ditch the cart before the horse secrets, like no one knows what that means. So it has a time and place, usually in great coaching, and belief change specifically, but not like as your first line, okay? So I hope you guys got that because it's really important. What's a metaphor? It's an already understood story, analogy, or reference that allows one to understand a foreign or ununderstood concept. It's like having a Rosetta Stone for learning because it immediately translates the unknown to the known by using a similar reference. Did that make sense? Jen thought that was funny. Yeah, I used a metaphor to describe the fucking metaphor. Oh, jeez. So fun. That was way too fun. But it really is. Someone can say, I don't understand or I don't get it. And you can just say a simple thing like, that's like blank. That's like saying blank. Okay? So here's an example of a metaphor that I use, and I love to use this one. Mel and I use this because Mel talks a lot about financial mastery and wealth management and stuff. And so this is real. I mean, I've used this with my mastermind clients. And it goes like this. I say, so, you know, one of the things that comes up for entrepreneurs that start making even anything past 6 figures is they start making that marketer's math top line money. But then their profit margin really isn't there. It's not healthy. And they begin to develop a belief that I can solve a profit margin issue by what? By just making more sales. Well, that's like trying to fill a bucket full of holes up with more water. Until you plug the holes, you can put as much water in, it's not going to change your current circumstances. Metaphor, right? So that's what we're going to do in today's presentation. I'm going to show you how to plug up some of these holes in your business that are causing massive profit leakages. Okay? That's a metaphor. So what was the belief? The belief was if I don't have enough profit margin, I can just make more money and that will solve my profit margin issue. Well, yeah, if you have a bucket full of holes, what do you think is going to happen? By the way, when you ask it as a question, it's always more powerful. What do you think is going to happen if you just fill it with more water? It's good, right? You guys all got that? And by the way, you're not going to do that too, right? You're not going to ignore profit margin and just like, I'll just make more sales and it doesn't matter if I'm profitable. Is anyone going to do that here? 2 people aren't. 3. Okay, good. All right. So what was the metaphor I gave you yesterday? I gave you a visual, experiential metaphor, right? Some of you guys were saying it's not perfect. I'm not the expert. I'm not the best. And I said, I want you to imagine you're on a beach and there's somebody screaming for help and they're drowning. What do? It was a visualization and it was a metaphor. What was a metaphor for? It was a metaphor for helping somebody who needs saving. And in that scenario, most of you, hopefully all of you, didn't care about, oh, I'm not the best Olympic swimmer. You just jumped in the water and you did what you could to save that person's life. Metaphor. Saving someone who's drowning is analogous to selling your products and helping people. Well, by the way, here's what people are doing again. This has some NLP underpinnings. This is what we do constantly. We say, this is like this other thing I learned, or blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to invite you guys. Analogy and metaphor are synonymous. Just be open to receive. Because what that does is that really starts to take people out of the game. When we're too busy going, do I agree with this? Have I heard about this? Am I going to label this like this other thing? Or we just receive. There's so much more you can learn when you do that. Okay, so here's an example template that you guys can use. Okay, so this is now putting all 3 together. So part 1 we did, part 3 we did, and the shift belief in the middle, we could use consequence, counterexample, or metaphor. Okay, and you're just gonna have to practice them. And again, this is what I warned you guys, this stuff is so powerful, but most people here will just say, oh, I learned this cool thing, and they won't practice it. It's gonna get messier and it's gonna get harder before you can do it naturally. That's why I can do it with you guys on the fly without thinking, okay? So here's how you could put this into a program. Hey, today I'm gonna walk you through how to blank so you can blank. And I know you might be thinking limiting belief. Or if you're like some of my, people that have come to me that have struggled and they've failed the test a few times, you might also be thinking, I'm not the smartest, right? And if you've been thinking about that, by the way, the consequence up there can actually be synonymous with the shifting the belief, okay? But the truth is, it's not a matter, I'm just gonna change the meaning. It's not the matter of being the smartest, because there's always gonna be people smarter than you. It's simply a matter of being the most passionate, right? We're just really shifting from smart to passionate. Yeah, you could even do challenging the comparison. You could just say, well, smartest compared to whom, or smartest at what specifically, or how are we even measuring, intelligence, right? Or we could do an example. We could just do a counterexample. That's what I used to think too, right? You could use ourselves as a counterexample. You could say, there's a lot of smart people. There's a lot of the smartest people that don't know how to take tests. So this isn't even a matter of being the smartest. It's a matter about learning how to take a test. And you can, when you learn how to take a test, you can overcome or counteract or overcompensate for any lack of smarts that you think you're missing. So now I've just moved it to we just want you to become a better test taker. There's a lot of smart people. That's counterexample. There's a lot of smart people out there that know everything, but when it comes time to the test, they choke, they struggle, and then they fail, despite how smart they are. So the good news is you don't need to be the smartest. All you need to do is learn how to be effective at taking the test the right way. And that's exactly what you're going to learn in this program if you stay with me. Okay? Enter belief shifts. So, and then you can just use a line like this. So as you stay open to this video, as you stay open to this training and begin to focus on how you can learn to be a better test taker, you can start to see why so many other successful pre-meds that have passed the test think this way as well. And that's why they passed the test. And the good news is you have now the same information that they had. So let's get started, okay? The more you're baking this in to the why, what, how, what if framework, the more you're going to be helping people. Do you like helping people? Yes, yes, maybe not. All right. So that's it again. If you want to take a screenshot, that's part one. Done. Okay? Because I have more stuff to get through. I'm not going to spend too much time with us going through practicing and examples. But there it is in all its glory. Okay? Pretty cool. You can do this all day long. So yeah, you guys are all in trouble now. Because Mel is a very, very good friend of mine. He's been with this community since the beginning. He's also used to be my neighbor. Like I said, that amazing story of where he would just listen to me talk and then put it into a framework. He's just a wizard at taking the complex information that we have and making it visual, demonstrable, and applicable to our students. And this is a whole wealth and world that he teaches. And so he's also kindly giving and sharing. He's not, Jen or Mel are not getting compensated for this. So
wait, I'm not?
I waited until he was live to tell him. You know, he so generously gives his time. So he's amazing at this. And he's prepared a little bit to share with you guys. So he's going to rock and roll. And let's see, we've been at, yeah. So I think we might take a little break after this. So let's give it up for Mal first. You can do a virtual, woo-hoo-hoo! Melvin!
All right.
And then I'll let you take it away, buddy.
Sweet. Thank you, man. It's so good to be here, man. And see you. This is always fun. So
Mel doesn't own a Tesla. He owns one of those little Power Wheel Teslas.
Yeah.
Still electric.
It is electric. Yeah. They don't let me drive anymore. So this is so cool. And I could talk for days on this. And some of you that are on here have been with me for talking for days on this. But let me just tell you why I think this is probably one of the most important tools that you can ever learn when you are a thought leader or when you're trying to be a high-level communicator. He says, because imagine having a tool at your disposal that impacts someone psychologically, gets to them visually, builds emotionally, and talks to them logically. Because that is exactly what a framework does when it's done correctly. So many times people will look at something and they say, I have a framework, and I am not, trust me, I'm not insulting anyone that uses acronyms, but you'll understand the depth of what we're going to talk about here in a moment, is that what I'm talking about here and what I want to walk you through is what I call diagrammatic frameworks, drawing a picture for people. And here's why this works. How many of you have ever seen, I mean, had an emotional response when you see a baby or a dog, a puppy, a cat, or an animal or something like that? Like, I can't watch those commercials for, I love animals. So I watch those doggone commercials for, you know, these animals that are abused, and I just can't watch because it's got an emotional impact. And so the reason for that is people don't realize that the visual intake is an emotional intake. But when we put structure to it, in other words, when we psychologically put the right shapes in the right way together with the right words, we create a logical intake. So it's the one tool that you'll have in your arsenal that marries the emotions of the heart and the logic of the mind in delivering your content. It's also the way that you have the opportunity to take everything that's complex and move it to the side of simple, because our customers, the people that we serve, they need to be able to cross 3 lines. They need to be able to say, I need it, and you can use a framework to get them there. They need to say, I need it now, and you can use a framework to get them there in the same framework. And they need to be able to say, I can do it. And when we bring simplicity to the things that we do, now they can cross the I can do it line. And that is the key. So I'm gonna do a couple of things here, and then I'll walk you through. I'll show you some examples of frameworks, but I want to give you an idea of what I call the framework formula, the 4 aspects of all frameworks and why they work. And at the same time, then I'll give you a kind of a recipe on how to create one of the types of frameworks that you'll use in your business. Is that cool? If that's cool, give me a 1 in the chat. All right. Let's see it. Let's see if technology is going to cooperate, because I'm going to try something new. You should be able to see my slide deck right now. Everything cool? You guys see that? All right. So let's see if we can work. So here's the deal. When we talk about creating a framework, what I want to do is I want the framework to drive distinction. I want it to drive understanding, and I want it to drive results, which means I need it to drive action. You've watched this all unfold over the last 2 days. Jen did it and James did it. And you're going to see a lot of this stuff unfold in the way that they're doing it. But here's why this is important. Because if people don't get your information, in other words, they don't understand it, then we don't have the results we want. We don't have the transformation. They don't pay attention. So we need to get this right. We need to get this right in a way. Let me see if does this make it bigger?
It's large for me.
Okay. So we need to get it right in a way that they get it. The other thing that happens if we don't do this right is that it's not memorable. Think about this. We're going to talk about some frameworks, and Stephen Covey, Urgent versus Important. He made a multi-million dollar business off of 4 boxes, a framework. Okay. This is what you can do. You build your whole career off of it. But the only way it's going to be built off of that is the realization that it is memorable, that people will recall it. When we give them a list of stuff, they don't recall that. But when we draw a picture for them, they recall that. And I'll give you an example of where this came from. I'm an accountant by trade. So you would think, what's a left brain guy doing some of this stuff? And here's how I look at it, is where I came up was being a financial expert. I was testifying at trials. So I would testify in front of juries on financial matters. Now, the only thing worse than talking about financial stuff in front of a jury is talking about DNA evidence. And they're going to go to sleep. And the only way you're going to get them to remember it when they go into the deliberation room is to make something that allows them to recall it. So I'm opposing the other experts. They are doing their math on the flip chart. And they're putting numbers up there and doing math, and I'm watching the jury. So I get up there and they say, Mel, can you tell us how you got to your results? I said, yeah, is it okay if I tell you a story and draw you a picture? And I went ahead and I drew my results in the form of a framework and told a story around it. And inevitably, what they remembered when they went to jury deliberations was the story and the picture. it becomes memorable, it becomes valuable, and it becomes retainable. And that's what we need for our information. The second is that when we do this correctly, we have depth. There's a reason that in college, they teach you 101, 201, 301. The tendency for a thought leader, someone such as yourselves that have a lot of information, is to go and just regurgitate all you know on everyone. I did this my very first event 8-9 years ago. I had 27 people in the room. I gave them 2.5 decades of entrepreneurship in 3 days. It was amazing information and totally useless, okay, because I overwhelmed them. So what we need to be able to do is build our content in layers so we have depth and we can teach at different levels. Then you get yourself out of bullet hell. You're not going to see a whole lot of bullets in my presentation, and nor will you ever. Very few times do I do it, because it's not about the bullets, it's about the message, and it's about the messenger and how it's delivered. So we get ourselves out of bullet hell in doing this. When we do this right, you take something that's complex and you simplify it. When you do this right, it's easily duplicated. In other words, it's memorable. They get a chance to duplicate it. They get a chance to recall it. And they say, I don't even remember the speaker's name, but this is what he drew or she drew. And when you get this right, you get to teach in layers, okay? That you get a chance to do the things that you want to do and teach it in layers. And the reason we teach it in layers, to realize this, is that our job for our clients is to move them from point A to point B. And so what we need to do is just give them the layer, the sliver that they need to do that, instead of turning around and saying, hey, I'm going to give you everything from A to Z. They can come back for the C to Z later, because if we never get them to B, they're never getting to Z. Hopefully this makes sense. If it's making sense to you, let me know in the chat box. Awesome. So what ends up happening then is you then become distinct and unforgettable. Your frameworks become your positioning, become your distinction, and become the thing that people will remember you on. You all are going to remember the framework, the influence framework that James just drew. You're going to remember the Venn diagram that he just drew. You're going to remember the quadrant model that Jen drew yesterday. It's easier to recall the information when you do that, and you become that unforgettable person in the process. So what are frameworks? They can be anything. They're basically 3 shapes: squares, triangles, and circles. They're put together in a certain way. This is where it becomes important. Everything that I do and everything that I go through has a psychology to it, a persuasion to it, a reason for it, whether it's the colors I use, whether it's the shapes I use. It's not arbitrarily saying, well, I like circles, so I'm going to use circles. The question is, what do the circles denote? And you'll see this when we talk about the framework formula. But we can use frameworks to create unity and distinction. We can use them to create steps in evolution. We can get them to focus. We can create process. We can use others like a timeline. We can create a hierarchy. We can create choice. We can create distinction. We can comparative hierarchies. We can create a flow. So there's all these ways that we have the ability to use visual content that brings your message to life in a different way, okay? And when you do this, you'll start to see how this plays out. So what I want to do is I want to walk you through the framework formula. And I'm doing this fast, and then I'll get to showing you a recipe on how to do one. And then I'm more than happy to answer any questions and everything. This is kind of a like you said, a crash course on it. But the framework formula drives everything that we do when it comes to frameworks. So I'm gonna switch apps. I'm gonna move to here and just go to the framework formula. I'm gonna draw this out for you. And I'm gonna do this all for a reason for you. I want you to follow along and see what I'm doing, and I'll unpack it all for you. So here's the first thing to realize is that that when you create a framework, there are 4 things that a framework must have to have the psychology, to have the visual aspect, to have the emotional aspect, and the logical aspect. And when you get all 4 of those, the framework itself becomes transformational, okay? The framework itself becomes transformational. So the first thing is this, is that the first piece is that it has to have a formation to it. This is the squares, this is the triangles, and this is the circles. This is the version of an accountant's artistry, because this is as good as my drawing gets. So you'll get used to it. But the formation requires you to decide what are the right shapes that you should use in creating your framework. For instance, when you use a square, what kind of psychological impact does it have? What kind of feeling does it give you? Is it a feeling of enclosure, boundaries? What is it? Do me a favor, pass that. Yeah, closed, a box, yep, round, okay, full, structure, great. What happens if I use a triangle? What does that give you? Goal, ascension. Now you're starting to see that the shapes you choose make a difference. And these are the only 3 shapes you got. Squares, triangles, and circles. There's no other shapes. Listen, if you want an oval, squash the circle. If you want a rectangle, squash the square. If you want a diamond, put 2 triangles together. But they all come from these 4 shapes. But these 4 shapes have a psychological, influential impact on your audience through the visual you create. Okay, the visual you create. So we don't arbitrarily say, I like squares. We ask ourselves these questions. What's the right formation to get the message across that I am going to portray here? The second, so if this is about the shapes, the second part of every framework is this, is the information. This is the data, the stuff. But this is the stuff that they need to know that gets them from A to B. The challenge here is this, and this is what I tell people is I want you to use the 3-hour rule. In other words, if I only had 3 hours with you and you were going to teach me your stuff and you wanted me to walk away and you knew when I walked away that my life was changed, what would be the things that you would teach me in the 3 hours? It's not about you stuffing everything in, but what were the needle movers that I need to know to make the biggest difference in my life right now? That's what we need to build in here. So the information that we put into the formation is important. This is where a lot of people will stop. They'll turn around and they'll stop right here. And I go, I got formation, I got information, I threw it together, and I do this. Where frameworks come to life is these next 2 elements. So the next 2 elements is this. The first is this. The third piece of our framework is the emotion. Now this emotion, it could be the action, but it's the emotion. What do I want my audience to feel when I'm doing this framework, when I'm creating this framework? What do I want them to feel? So every time I'm creating the framework, I'm asking myself, what emotions do I want to instill in them? Is it angst? Is it desire? Is it frustration? I want to stir the emotions because I want to stir the emotions and then fill it with logic because I need to move them. If you're truly a thought leader, the important part of this process is to get them to think differently, because without thinking differently, they're not going to behave differently. And without behaving differently, they can't get different results. So our job as thought leaders is to lead their thinking, not manipulatively, but from a positive way. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Fourth aspect of this is the orchestration. This connects to the heart. This is my best stick figure of a guy dancing. And if you saw me dance, I probably look like that. So this orchestration is the dance between your content, your message, and your audience and their response. Okay? It's how we deliver it. If you think back on when Jen or James did the frameworks that they presented. They didn't simply turn around and say, there it is, because here's the challenge with this. And this is why I did this with the jury, is every step of the way, I knew 100% what you were focusing on. And as long as I can take you through these process and orchestrate the thinking down the road and say, all right, I got you here, I got you here, and now I get you there. I know that 90% of the audience is with me. Are you guys with me? If this makes sense, do me a favor and yeah, cool. So every framework has to be built on these 4 pillars: formation, information, emotion/action, or orchestration. And when you do that, you have a tool that's transformational, because it's going to have the psychology you need to influence and persuade. It's going to have the visual you need to impact them and make it memorable. It's going to have the emotions that are going to drive them to action. And it's going to have the logic that allow them to back it up to make the decisions that they need to make. Now, there's 6 primary types of frameworks you can create. They're not all created equal. I'll walk you through the 6 that they are. And I'll tell you about the 2 that I think every single one of you need to make that happen. So the first framework is what I call a process framework. A process framework is your process. This teaches your people the how. So it's a diagram of the process that gets them from point A to point B. Okay, I'll show you examples of these. The second type of framework is what I call a value framework. A value framework, we call it a value visual in my training. The value framework is what teaches them the purpose or the value of them working with you. It's to create desire. This is your sales framework, if you will, in making that happen. The third type of framework you can create is a principle framework. This is, what do you need to know? What do you need to know? This framework right now that I'm creating is a principle framework, because I'm saying, hey, you need to know these things. It also has a little bit of the process in it. The fourth type of framework is what I call an evolution framework. An evolution framework takes them from one step, and you'll watch them evolve. And we do this in our financial program. We do this in some of the thought leader stuff. If I'm going to take you from here, we're going to slowly evolve you to up to here. So it's an evolution that allows you to transition over time. Most of those frameworks are done in, and I may have an example to show you, are done in circles or squares or something that are evolutionary, kind of like this. So they're going up. Okay. Then the fifth framework is what I call an immediacy framework. I use this framework. This is a framework that gets them to make their decision now. So this is what creates urgency and the need for them to choose now. So when we turn around and say, look, here's your choice, they visually see, if I don't make the choice today, here's my consequences in a graphic. And they go, crap, I got to make a choice today. Okay. And then the third framework is what we call, the last framework is what we call a brilliance framework. This is kind of one that captures everything of your whole system. It's a complex framework. Don't teach it a ton, but the 2 that become really important for you in your world are these 2 here. If you just start with those 2, it'll make a huge difference. In other words, you've created a framework around your process and a framework about why they need to work with you. Okay. Does this make sense? Is this of value to you?
They're loving it, Mel. That's awesome. Now, of course, a lot of people want to know, what's your secret wizardry technology that's allowing you to create this in real time with us? Mel, did you freeze? Did he freeze? Yeah, it's an iPad. He's on his iPad. Did we lose Mel as soon as he finished? Yeah, he's using his iPad, I have pencil, and I don't know what app specifically, but we can ask him. Can someone let me know if he's frozen, or is it just me that he's frozen for? He's frozen in carbonite. So at least it was right at the end. I think it was the end. I don't know what else he had. So he'll come back, but how amazing was that? So we'll get him to come back, and he'll be able to answer some questions for you guys. But I want you guys to again look at what we're doing. We are taking the why, what, how, what if. Now we're layering that with belief and perspective change. Here comes Mel. We'll bring him back in. And then we layer that with the frameworks. You see how much more effective your stuff can get, guys. Okay, so let me make him a co-host again, and let me see if we can bring him back in. Mel, I made you a co-host. Can you unmute yourself and come on back? Perhaps. Oh wait, he's still. Mel, I've unmuted you. Are you there?
Yeah, I am. And let me just I just went to a different computer because my whole system just froze.
So, first of all, this has been amazing. You missed all the amazing things people said. Like Terry Lee said, this was a mic drop presentation. And I know I really quickly want to get into some questions. You guys retype your questions in. Yeah, Jelly said he broke the internet. First question is, we just want to confirm how you're doing all your fancy technical wizardry. You're using an iPad, your pencil, and how are you connecting all that for us to see it?
You know, that's in my paid course. I'm just using the iPad, and most of the time I just connect directly with a USB cable directly to the computer. I use either Paper 53 or Notability. And that's what I'm doing to draw. What I was using on my main system was Ecamm Live, which allowed me to put both of us on the screen at the same time, feed it into Zoom. It's new, and I'm testing it, which clearly I didn't pass the test. But even just as well, if I want to share my screen here, I could. They disabled screen share. Yeah. If I wanted to share my screen, I can share the iPad directly into Zoom.
That's so great. That's so great. Okay, so Ro said, I'm not sure I understand brilliant to capture everything. That was one of your types. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's one of the types. So let me, if I can share the screen, I'll show you what it is.
Yeah, do you need me to make you a co-host again?
I think it says host disabled attendee screen sharing.
I would never have done that. Stand by. Let's see. Okay, can you try it again?
Yep, I can do it now. So let's see. Y'all should be able to see my screen now.
Yes.
Okay, so this now is direct into Zoom via cable. So let me just show you some samples. You'll see. This is Stephen Covey's. It's a quadrant model. This is a process model. But this is what I mean about a brilliance framework. I have my program called Affluence Blueprint. This actually captures everything I need in one framework. It's complex to do. I'm going to tell you right now, do not try, because you won't get the psychology right. You won't get the influence right. You won't get all of it right. What I would tell you to do is focus. If you're going to do this, you're going to focus on the 3 inner circles, and that's it. Because there's a way to do this, and the orchestration is important to all of it. So what I want to invite you to do is to thinking about doing one of 3 types of frameworks right now, and that's it. Because we got to start with walking before we start to run, and those 3 frameworks are going to be either a Venn diagram with just the circles, a triangle, or a quadrant model. And I'm going to give you a recipe to do a triangle framework. And these are process frameworks that allow you to deliver your stuff in a powerful way. If I turn around and do this, let me switch my screen share, and then I'll show you. I'm just going to pull it up on the screen, which is a no-no. You don't do that, but that way you'll see how this is done, and I'll give you the recipe, and I'll make sure that these slides are available.
What's a no-no?
To do this, what I'm about to do, if I do this and you see that framework on the screen, it's a no-no.
Right. Okay. So that was part of your what did you call that? That
orchestration.
Orchestration. So some people were a little confused about that. The orchestration, the way I'm interpreting it, is like how it unfolds.
Exactly.
How people experience it. So he's saying it's a no-no because look at that. You look at that all at once and look how overwhelmed you can get.
Here's why it is. I can't tell where you're looking. And I may want to be talking about chaos versus control. Whoops. And you're sitting back looking at it going, what does he mean by digging and drowning? And now I've lost you as an audience. Okay, so orchestration is controlling the thinking. So all I'm going to do is, and I'll do this really fast because I know we're running short on time, but all I want to do is first I want to tell you exactly what we're going to do. So here's what we're going to do. Today I'm going to walk you through how to go from the money chaos to controlling your money. Because here's what I noticed in people most going on today is that most people are fearful, frenetic, or frozen. They're digging, drowning, and declining. And I would go a lot deeper in this, or they're clueless, aimless, and directionless. Either way, that's a problem. But there's three things you need to get out of this and move you from chaos to control. So the aspect of this is to move you from chaos to control. The first thing you need is to stabilize. The second thing you need after you stabilize, we'll get to it, but when you stabilize, now you go from fearful, frenetic to frozen to confident, calm, and active. Then we move to surplus. We need to build a surplus in your world because when you have a surplus, you start living a more fulfilling life. You're no longer drowning, you're swimming, you're rising. And we need to strategize. And when we do that, we now have clarity, intentionality, and target. So now what I've done is when I take that and I unpack that over 20 minutes or 10 minutes, I've controlled the process to say, I get them to buy into chaos versus control. I get them to buy into the emotional aspects of it. I get them to then buy into the pillars of how to fix it. And then I give them the emotional aspects of the success.
Someone could do this at the start of their program and for every module, correct?
Yes, they can.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I would caution you on for every module.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Your modules, if you look at it, stabilize, strategy, and surplus can be modules. And below that, there may be other frameworks and other things to teach from. The only caution I would have is don't use the same framework structure for every module. I did that in my book, and I used a Venn diagram for each of the three parts, but then it became confusing. It's still a great book, and y'all should have it, but that was a shameless pitch. But
what's the book?
The but is that they...
No, what's the book, Mel? What's the title?
Oh, The Entrepreneur's Solution. And just because Tiffany's on, because she doesn't think that I keep my book close to me, there it is. But every part is built off of a Venn diagram. That meant that there's 3 Venn diagrams in the same book, and it can be confusing.
Yeah.
So the same thing with your modules.
That's good.
So let me give you the recipe for this one, so you have it. Problem versus promise in the center. What are the current emotional states that they have around the outer edge? What are the pillars of what you teach that will make a difference to that current emotion or state? And what's the outcome of each of those, the desired state? So imagine what's happening here. You speak to their current problem right now and you capture them. You give them a promise of where they want to go. You give them something logical that they hang on to, pillar 1, pillar 2, pillar 3. when you talk about the emotional states, their current emotional emotions or states, they're going, crap, they really know me. And then you say, but with pillar 1, pillar 2, or pillar 3, you end up with the desired emotional states, and they go, I need this. And so when you build it properly with the right psychology and you orchestrate it effectively with the right delivery, you move people to action. And you'll notice that everything that I do has a name at the top. So make sure that you name it, because it becomes yours and it becomes your thing.
Like compelling subtitle.
Well, that was for this one, but I put, triangle framework back. So you want to put a compelling subtitle up there if you need one. Sometimes you don't, but
well, what I love too about this, because I don't think you mentioned it, but the colors are intentional too.
Yes, they are.
Problem or anything negative is in red, and anything desired is in green.
Yeah, all the colors are intentional. The shapes are intentional. There's a psychology and influence to all of it as we build. So none of it's arbitrary. Everything is to have a predictable impact emotionally and logically on our audience, so I can get them to shift their thinking, to get them to behave differently and get different results.
Yeah, that's great.
And you can build this all into your program and your stuff in a way that now you become known for it.
Yeah.
And to tell you the power of being associated with a framework, Stephen Covey's urgent versus important. If someone puts that up there, everyone goes, that's Stephen Covey's work. And some of you may know this, but Stephen Covey's not the one that came up with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's Eisenhower. But Stephen Covey became so associated and prolific with it, he became indelibly associated with it. And that's what you want with your program and your stuff, that even if they don't remember your program name, I mean, James's very first, BBD had a crazy name. The beta, I was in the beta too. So it was like, it didn't really have a name. It wasn't because it didn't really have a shape. But at some point now, James is indelibly connected to BBD and the frameworks and the processes in there. When you find that positioning in the market space, things shift for you.
Not only that, which I'm surprised you haven't mentioned, you're kind of teetering around it, is anyone who's kind of like worried about competition on either side, whether it's like there's already people doing this or I don't want people to just take my stuff. It's the framework that has yours being absolutely unique.
Yeah.
So anybody else who tries to use your stuff, everyone's going to be like, wait, that's Mel's framework.
Yeah.
That's Mel create. That's when you go from just sharing and regurgitating content to creating something truly unique.
Yeah. I can teach on this one framework a whole day if I want to, because of the layers that are built in. And it's so true that you build your distinction on it and no one else can compete with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's huge. So what do you guys say? Pretty awesome, right? Entering the wonderful world of frameworks, and it goes so deep with that.
Yeah.
But just even playing around, like my favorite is always the Venn diagram. And yes, I can't, I've done the complex one that you did, and that takes something, but just doing the 3 circles is, obviously I did it here today. I've done the ladder going up. Oh my gosh, we do that in our free series. So, first of all, can we give some love and shout outs to Mel, even though you guys have already been doing that the whole time he's been speaking. They love you, Mel. So awesome. So thank you, buddy. And can we actually leave that up and make sure people just get a screenshot of that? And then here's what we're going to do. Can you bring that? Did you lose it? There it is. So that's make sure everyone has a screenshot of that now. Obviously, you guys are getting all the recordings of this. But I'm going to actually give you guys a break now for 10 minutes. Okay, so it's 1 o'clock, so 1:12, so it's like 11 minutes to just take a break.
You're so generous.
I'm so generous. That's more than enough time. But do your restroom, get something to drink and eat or whatever you got to do for 10 minutes. We're going to kind of just relax and chill for a minute. But I want you to try practicing this right now. Okay? I want you to try practicing this right now and start implementing what you're learning during this. And then the final hour, I'm going to end up with sharing 13 specific things that we bake into our program that offers more value and just a better experience for our students. These are very specific, nitty-gritty, tangible things. And I'll probably have more ideas as we go through them, but it's also an opportunity for you guys to think of really cool ideas. And it's not about implementing all 13. It's just choosing 1 or 2 to get started, okay? So thank you again, Mel. And we're gonna be back here in 10 minutes.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Practice that on, yeah. Let's just chat. How you doing, by the way?
I'm doing well. Things are good.
How's Laguna today?
It's good. I'm realizing, I'm not taking it personally, but I moved into the neighborhood, you moved out.
Yeah.
Then you realize you didn't move far enough, so now you're in Sedona.
Yeah.
So
and then we bought the same car, and then I got rid of mine. What else have I done to be a bad? So funny. Well, and we're actually, you and I, so I talk to Mel as much as I can.
Yep.
And what he does today around, which is so needed, because right now, we've got some of our inner circle members on the call. We've got some next level and some BBD people, online business owners. Like when I got started, everyone was like, this is a scam. You can't make money doing this. And like, we always chuckle at that today because there's people in every niche imaginable that are just thriving. But what does thriving mean? There's a lot of people that are making a lot of sales. Or they're having big launches, and we kind of joke and call this like marketer math. But so that's really good. People have got like the sales part figured out, and that's obviously like what we do in Business by Design. But what do you do with that money?
Yeah.
And even me, like when I first met Mel, even though our business was doing, I think when I first met you, we were at 2 million. Like I wasn't doing anything to be strategic with managing that money. And something clicked for me. I'm just talking. Mel and I are just talking, and something clicked for me that was a gift that Mel gave me. And I don't even know if he ever realized it. And I tell him this every time I talk to him. But I went from this, here's this thing that I do that we're doing today that I just love doing. I mean, I love doing this. I love this. And, it makes money. And then there's like those thoughts in the back of your head, like, what's the long-term goal? Like, how long do you do this for? Like, this isn't really a business you can sell. What's the end game? Do I see myself doing this 30 years? Maybe. And something really clicked for me that I hadn't clicked, and I kind of felt like a dum-dum that I hadn't really thought of this. And it was all because of Mel. That the business that we have, which has such an opportunity to create so much impact, have you living on purpose, and make a lot of money, also is the opportunity to be a massive cash flow generator into creating real wealth. And as soon as I drew that connection, because you do start making money and you start going like, well, money doesn't motivate me. So what's motivating me? Like, why does it matter to do more or reach more or whatever? Like maybe, and when you add that other layer of like, wait a second, this business allows me to create more long-term sustainable wealth. I'm literally, we talked yesterday and now we're putting an offer in on another house out here, and
sorry, Chelsea. Sorry, Jilly.
I talked to her. Okay. I talked to Chelsea. Well, not Jilly yet. I haven't told Jilly yet. So surprise. And like, just even that way of looking at things has changed so dramatically. And, we're just chatting, shooting the shit here, but that is, like I said, Mel is like a master of all trades. Like to learn from you, even just 5% of how we can be better with our money, managing the money that comes in, increasing our profit margins, lowering our expenses, understanding those numbers, and then what to do with that has been just a game changer. Like we've diversified so much and created so much for that's true wealth. And and yeah, and in times like this, when you have prepared in ways, you don't need to worry as much as some people that are, unfortunately and sadly living paycheck to paycheck or massively in debt, so I'm always, grateful and indebted to you, man. So you sharing this is just one of the many, many valuable things that you offer.
Thank you, my friend. It's been a mutually beneficial. I mean, our friendship and this journey that we've been on has been incredible. So
yeah, hopefully I can return the favor in some way someday.
Oh, you have.
I'll find out a way. always trying to repay the favors, but yeah, Mel's the best.
And we still need to go get our totally off the subject, but we need to go get because Julie posted in there. We need to go get our permits, our licenses for our Vespas done.
Mel and I bought scooters together. That's how weird we are. Like, we bought scooters together, and we ride around town in Laguna with matching scooters.
But the crazy thing is that I was just talking to Stephanie. We were having breakfast about getting a scooter. I'm going by his office. He's got a scooter, and I go, "What are you doing?" And he says, "I just got that." And I said, "Where'd you get it?" So I literally, that moment, Steph and I drove to the shop, and I looked at him and said, "Wedmore, pull his invoice up." And he said, "Okay, why?" I said, "Because he's my best friend. He sent me in here. Pull his invoice up." I said, "Now, give me a scooter. It's got to be at least $1 less than him and one amenity more than his. I need bragging rights. Otherwise, you don't make the sale." That was the negotiation.
Yeah, and Mel is a master at the negotiations. Oh my gosh, it's so fun.
Yeah.
That's great. And we need to get our licenses. We don't even have licenses for the scooters.
Expired.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, we spent a day at the DMV. James and Mel stuck it in DMV. Not a good
9 hours or 7 hours or something. We just hung out at the DMV all day to get our permit. And then they go, "Okay, you got your permit. You have 1 year to the day to get your license." So guess what we didn't do? Get our license.
It's almost 2 years now.
Oh man. Jeez, yeah. It's just like one of those things on the to-do list. I'm like, yeah, I really don't want to do that. How long? So Allison, Mel and I met. This is a great story. We met at a Jeff Walker event in Phoenix 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
No, it's had to be longer than that because
No, it was the end of 2015.
Yeah.
It was the end of November of 2015, and someone introduced us, and I'm such an introverty, shy kind of person. I'm like, I don't want to meet anybody. but Mel's a lot nicer and friendlier. And so he starts, saying hi. I think he'd just gotten off a phone call, and I was like, "Oh, where you live?" And the long story short of it was, we realized that this person I just met, that we lived 4 doors down from each other. We were only living, and he had just closed on the house 4 doors down. So it was like this whole thing where I was like, "Oh, where are you from?" He's like, "California." He's like, "Oh, me too. Whereabouts?" It's like, "Oh, Southern California." "Yeah, where?" "Orange County." "Yeah, where in Orange County?" "Laguna Beach." "Shut up. Where in Laguna?" "South Laguna." "South Laguna? Where in South Laguna?" He says, Three Arch Bay." "Three Arch Bay? Upper or lower?" "Lower." "Lower? What street?" "We're on the same freaking street." Like, it was nuts. Like, how does that happen? So
yeah,
it's meant to be, match made in heaven. He always tries to say he's my soulmate. He doesn't say that. I say that. Yeah, but it was kind of unavoidable. Stalker status. Yeah, that's why he bought the house.
He did, and then he moved out.
He Googled, "Where does James live?"
Yeah. Don't tell James it was no, that'll make it sound really creepy if I said, "Where's Chelsea live?"
Yeah. He did have he still does, way nicer house than me. Way nicer. Our house there was is a 1-bedroom at I think it was like 800 square feet. And in Laguna, that's still a lot of money.
That's a lot of square footage.
That's a lot in Laguna. And Mel's got this mansion right next door to us. Anyways, we're just chatting. Am I full-time in Sedona now? That's a really good question. I can't answer that with Mel here.
See? I'll
No.
take it personally.
Who has been, oh, you live in Cottonwood, Don? You're right down the street. I go to your Walmart there. That's where I'm getting like all my supplies and stuff. Veronica goes to Sedona once or twice a month. I don't even question why you would do that. Of course you would, you know? Oh yeah, Gilbert. Wait, who lives in Gilbert? Terry Lee. That's where Mark lives. Mark Bailey. He was here yesterday.
Yeah, he lives in Gilbert.
Yeah. So I first came. So Chelsea and I are both born and raised. My wife, both born and raised in Laguna Beach. So we'll give you guys another minute, and we're going to pop back into this. I'll give you guys another minute to someone who has completed one of these frameworks. We're going to bring them on live, and you're going to show us. So, you know, you can finish that up for a second as we just chat. So Chelsea and I came to Sedona about the same time that I met Mel for the first time, on a whim, accidentally. Like, oh, what's this? Okay, we'll go here first. You know, what's this Sedona place? I've heard about it. And I was actually, the story goes, I was actually in a bad mood. I was like, it was like a long flight. I was just frustrated. I was in a bad mood, and we're driving now for 2 hours from Phoenix Airport. And I remember that road on it's 179 coming into Sedona. And when you turn this corner, all of a sudden, these massive, majestic red rocks are just towering over you. And I just felt whatever annoyance that I had, you know, not sleeping, traveling a bunch, just melted away. And I was like in love. And I just like, my heart opened on a whole nother level. And within minutes, like we didn't even have the home that we have, our dream home in Laguna, which was always our dream, was to like live in our hometown and, you know, raise family there, all that stuff. And within minutes, I'm like, how do we get a house out here? And so that was a dream for a long time, but obviously we wanted to get our Laguna place first and, you know, be smart and learn some things from Mel about how to do the right things with our money. But just in January, we, I'd like to say we closed on our first home out here, which was a long dream come true for me, but we actually got two. Yeah, now I'm getting three. So I love it out here. It's a real special place. So my dream is, I'm an A and B type person, and I think everyone here should be that. So, you know, my wife really gets on board with that. She has to give me a lot of grace because, you know, she wants Laguna and I want both. And so it's how do you live with both? How do you do both? And I think most people are living A or B. How can I have this or this? Like, how can I be like, this was with a client recently, like I can either be a great mom or have a great business. And why do we limit ourselves so much? When you are limitless, you are infinite, and A and B is possible. Always. Yeah. A and B, you know, there's always a way. There's always a way. So who would like to have their triangle framework? Well, let's do Camille. So Camille said me first. I didn't even finish. So Camille, before I unmute you, did you at least try a version of this? Type in the yes if you did. Do you at least have something? Because we're not gonna create it for you guys. You guys got to do the work. Okay, Camille. So I'm gonna unmute you. Give me an hour here to find your name in this list. Okay. Camille, you're unmuted. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Did I pronounce your name okay?
You did. We've talked a couple times, and I'm the Laguna Beach girl that lives in an RV, and I know.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I apologize. So tell us a little bit about for this program that you're working on. Who do you help? How do you help them in this program?
Well, I've been in a pivot for a while now, James. When I came to you, I was still doing the RV thing.
Yeah.
And helping RVers find remote work so they could sustain their nomadic lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And I've been wanting out of that niche for a long time. So ironically, the niche I'm going into is what I used to do in my corporate life, which is training design. So it's kind of funny that I'm here today and doing all this. So I'm going to help people who are accidental trainers and teachers.
Oh, so good. Like in corporate, like that's their career.
Yeah.
They need to increase results and performance from
and they're forced into virtual. And I've been doing virtual for like a decade. And it's like, why am I not training this? I'm so good at it. And
this is like meta here.
Yeah,
like,
it is. Totally.
So you practice the triangle.
Well, okay. So I didn't realize you were going to ask specifically for a triangle. My bad. I did a circle.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So if you want to take someone else, it's fine.
No, let's, Mel, you're unmuted too. What would you rather do? I mean, you gave that beautiful example. I do want to show one of that.
I know Camille, and she never follows the rules, just so you know.
Hey, Mel, but it's a collaborative approach.
There's a framework.
We can take whatever. Yeah, we can do it. We can do whatever.
Okay, yeah, what would serve you best, Camille, right now, since we've already given you the hot seat?
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let someone else have the hot seat because I just get so excited to talk to you guys and I just wanted to put something in front of you. But I feel like if someone else really needs your support, I'd rather pass.
Well, you know, I think the biggest thing is I want to remind you to risk more.
Yeah.
More, dream more, and do more.
That's hilarious. I know exactly what you're
Expect
talking
about.
Expect more. I know.
There's your framework right there.
Totally.
That's your value ladder right there.
Yeah. Well, do you want to just see my little framework that I built and tested?
Yeah. Did you draw it or is it on your screen?
Yeah, it's on my screen. I can just show
okay.
it.
All right. So I gotta give you access to that.
Okay. We want the circle, Camille, someone just said.
You're at the top now, right? Yep. Okay. So I'm gonna make you a co-host. Okay. That's a big deal.
Cool.
All right, so go ahead and share your screen.
Okay, so to Mel's point, I did mine slightly differently. So can you guys see mine?
Yep. Oh, look at you, just rubbing it in. Not only is she a rule breaker, but she's a teacher's pet. She's got to go above and beyond.
I know. So actually, I tested this new framework. I did Mel's Influencers Intensive program last month. I thought it was phenomenal for any of you who are considering it. And I come from the world of frameworks myself. So it was really nice to get a refresher and see it differently in the digital space, because I come from corporate. So what I did is I took Mel's stuff and I did make it he said an acronym is not a framework. I totally agree. But just for the sake of fun, I made it that way for a summit that I did. And I used a launch it lean process is what I call it. So, let it flow is all about idea generation. Executing on one idea is committing to one thing, attract your audience, and then nailing it live, kind of like how you're doing it now, James. So this is like one of the frameworks that I have in one of my programs. This
could be like the 4 modules.
Mm-hmm. I think it will be. I'm in the process of redeveloping it into like a 4-week series. So.
Mm-hmm. And then you can build it out 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got an image on each. Mel, any thoughts or feedbacks if somebody wanted to do something like this?
You can do this. This is a process framework. I have one for one of my programs that is 5 steps like this. Mm-hmm. What you'll probably need to do is just to make sure that you build in the emotional piece. So what are the layers underneath? So that becomes, there'll be some sub frameworks in here that'll probably take center stage once you give them this main framework. So when you get into Let It Flow, there's something underneath that, and that's what's going to start to drive it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out, Mel. So I'm glad you're here today. I'm kind of going back to some of the stuff we did before and trying to figure out what goes underneath all this stuff. So
yeah, some people are asking about the how, and I'm just going to give some answers right here. Number one, you want to start with any way where you just draw it, whether it's on an iPad or a pen and paper or a whiteboard. So start there. And when we come up with a framework, we have designers. So I just take a picture of it and I send it to my graphic designer. You can get designers very inexpensive, very inexpensive to do basic things like this. Upwork and online jobs are two places that we love to go. Very inexpensive. If you want to do it yourself, which once you're in BBD, you're going to realize what it's costing you to do it yourself. Yes, there are things like Canva. I'm also, for $20 a month, I do love this site. Adobe has a great stock image library, and you can actually buy these templates and stuff like ready-made, and you just put your stuff on top of it. You know, a lot of really easy ways to start.
I'm glad you're saying this, James, because people get distracted with what are the tools, what's the graphics. Listen, pen and paper is the best way. I also will use PowerPoint or Keynote, and then I'll hand it to a graphic designer. Don't get caught up. My most powerful presentations on a one-on-one basis, a lot of times are spontaneous and on the back of a napkin. I literally drew a framework on one of the freaking barf bags on a plane talking to someone one time. And it's the delivery. It doesn't need to be this, piece of art to say. I wouldn't get caught up with that.
What about feedback for Camille about the two blues seem very similar in color? Wouldn't we want to have like a green in there or something more contrasty?
Yeah, I would probably shift the colors a little bit. So
you screwed up, Camille.
I'm so bad.
Oh, and now it's like just click of a button and we change the color.
Boom. Oh, whoops. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, and in something like this, it may actually match with brand colors. It depends on how you're doing it.
Yeah, that's good.
Because if this becomes your primary thing that you get known for, then you may want it with your brand colors.
Yeah. Okay. That's helpful. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. You're the best.
You're the best. Thank you.
You're the best for saying that. All right. Can you? Oh, you unshared. Okay, great. I'm gonna go ahead and mute you. Oh, you already muted yourself. Great. All right. Just checking in. Who did on a piece of paper a rough version of the triangle? So, Shelly, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can unmute you. I'm assuming Shelly, if I can.
Lola says she did it, but it's a mess. I love it.
As it's supposed to be, right?
It's beauty in the making.
Shelly, I'm going to unmute you. Get ready. Shelly, how do I pronounce your last name? Wait. Unmute. Sorry. Wait. There you go. Shelly?
Yeah, Shelly Matawami.
Shelly. Cool.
When I got married, I tried to convince my husband that we should just use my last name, but he didn't like that.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. All right. So here's how we're going to do this. Mel, will you bring up your teaching model, your last slide of the triangle? And then Shelly, you're going to take us through what you've come up with. But before you do that, can you share us a little bit about who this program is designed to help? Who's
okay, sure.
As best as you can. Doesn't even.
Yeah. This is actually, I joined BBD last August, and so I've been like. This is a pivot for me, but basically one of the things I'm really good at doing is kind of strategy for like daily life. And I'm a mom and I homeschool and I am a copywriter too. So I have like clients that I work with. So just like, how do you not sink into everything? Great. So I guess I didn't realize.
Specifically for busy moms is your audience.
Yeah, so moms, and also moms that like there's a lot, and I come from like kind of a conservative Christian background, and so there's a lot of pressure to be a stay-at-home mom, and not all of us, kind of fit that mold. I was older when I had my kids, and like I have a lot of education, so it's like kind of like how can I use those skills and gifts that I have in a way that is in alignment with who I am, and also in alignment with that I have, the fact that I have kids and, clients. And so, anyway, so I have been thinking about, so I actually bought the domain.
Yeah.
So the idea basically is strategic mom life. And like, how do you create a life that is in alignment with who you are and with what your
Well,
priorities
I just love, Shelley, that you're asking these really brave questions. You know, you guys have heard me now say a gajillion times that Richard Bandler quote, right? Quality of your life determined by the quality of questions you ask. So I love that you're asking, what is it that I can uniquely give and offer? And that's what starts to come. So this is beautiful. I got a real sense of this. And I think as we go through this, people will start to get more of a sense of it. So Mel, for problem and promise, do you recommend it be one word or a phrase, or does it matter?
The preference is 1 to 2 words.
Okay.
Almost an identity, something they can identify with. That's why chaos versus control.
Oh, so good. So you got something for us, Shelley, on the problem?
Yeah, I've got, so far I'm kind of working with stressed and overextended.
Okay, great. I really liked chaos.
Well, it could apply if you're a mom.
Yes, it can. It absolutely can. Okay, Mel, what do you think of something like stressed?
I think that's fine.
Okay, and then where are we going to get to? Promise.
So the promise is like alignment rather than, I mean, it's not like everything's going to be easy, but like you're strategic, like you're saying no to things that aren't in alignment with your values, and you're saying yes to the things that are really important to you. So like, let me
ask you a question. And I want to really hear from Mel on this. What would alignment give somebody? What does that give them when they have alignment?
It gives them the ability to say no to things that like maybe it's not that it's a bad thing, but it's just like, it just adds more noise and chaos to life.
What does saying no give somebody?
Freedom.
Okay. So why I ask those questions is because, and I'd love Mel's perspective on this too, is unless your audience already knows what aligned is, they're going to stop here and they're going to say, what does that mean? What does alignment mean? What does it mean? And I know that to be true because I talk about alignment all the time. And whenever I talk about it on the podcast, that's one thing. But then when it goes into, we take a clip from that and we put it onto Instagram, there's always people that say, what is that? What does that mean? Okay. So there's always somebody who's asking that. And so, Mel, I'm curious what your thoughts are in this area. Should it be something that is kind of universally understood and known, or does it need, like what if it's something that kind of needs to be unpacked for people?
The preference is that they would understand it. So you hit on some things, because I would have asked the same questions that you asked, James. What does that give you? What does that give you? Let's find out. If they're feeling stressed right now, what do they want as an alternative?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't need to know, because alignment almost speaks to your process, because your process.
Yeah, alignment is the way, really. It really is. Yeah.
And so what we want to speak to is the outcome, so it's easy for you to go, listen, my job really is to take moms just like you from stressed to, I saw people put serenity to peace to, those kind of things. Now all of a sudden they go, that's what I want. And if we can get them to shake their head and go, that's what I want, then we've got the right words.
You could also play with maybe some alliterations, like you can go from stress to space. I don't know if that will connect with people, but because that can mean a few different things. But I was trying to see if we could use the same, S and S.
Yeah.
And I still love chaos. I feel like chaos just seems more than stressed. Stressed is like, people can say stress is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, just don't be stressed out about it. Just turn that off. But chaos is a little bit less. It's more of a description of the external. Like that, you go into our house and it's chaotic in here. It's just pure madness. It's chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's describing a little bit more of an external. Going from chaos to.
Well, a lot of people put it in here too. Calm.
Chaos to calm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
See, I'm loving this, right? So what is it we're doing? We're working through this as a messy process. We're bouncing it off each other. We're thinking, we're externally processing, we're talking it out, or what about this? And then of course, boom, you guys are on here, but notice the process of how we do this as well. So what do you guys like better? Stressed to aligned or chaos to calm? Like which one hits you more, right? So it's not just about having a triangle on a piece of paper. It's about all of this, the words you choose.
It is, all of it matters.
And so, you spend the time that it takes. And some people go, oh, it's confusing, or it takes time, or it's frustrating. It's like, well, there's a program to go from chaos to calm.
Right.
But it takes what it takes,
It's a new way of seeing and thinking about things, but and it is a process. Even for me, it's a process, but I truncate the process because I've been doing it so long.
Yeah, exactly. Because you get better at things when you keep doing them. So if you've never done this before, how many people have already done frameworks, like do them all the time? So of course you're not going to be good the first time you do something, right? So yeah, this is awesome. Okay, so how do we do this next, Mel? Do we want to do all three emotional states, or do you want to do emotion, current emotion, and then go right to desired emotion? How do you do it?
So I typically will look at it and go, all right, so in order to, if I know that there's 3 pillars, I'll say, what are the pillars?
Start with the pillars.
Okay.
Because then I can ask myself, because if I don't have this pillar, what is my current emotional state?
Yeah. Okay. So you got some pillars for us?
I actually do. I was working on that earlier today. So like basically the kind of, and maybe I'm not quite on target with how I'm working with this, but like I was envisioning 6 pillars, like as far as like one would be my—
Give us all 6. Yeah.
So the first one is, because this would be targeted to Christian moms, it would be like kind of like a faith foundation. So identity, as far as it involves faith and Christianity. And then the second part would be me, like the aspect between me and my partner. Like this has to, like, if there's a husband in the picture, he needs to kind of like at least be aware, so that there's some kind of like communication about, hey, I'm drowning, and what, can we be on the same team?
Can we chunk that into one word, support? Or do you have a better word for that?
I mean, I'm open to—
I'm looking for a word. Do you have a word for that? Because that's beautiful.
I was using me and my partner, but or partnership or something.
Partnership. Great.
Okay.
Partnership. Okay.
And not necessarily everyone would have that, but even if it's not a spouse, it could be like, parent or, grandparent or, close friend, somebody that could be a partner in this. And then it would also be, since it's a mom, it would be your kids, like your relationship with you and your kids, like helping them understand that, mom has dreams and goals for her life too, not like you guys have dreams and things you want to do. Like, this is something that, and also this is something that I'm doing for you guys, not just, like just so that they're like getting them on board and getting them excited about it as well.
And Shelly, here's something I'm going to ask is, I don't know about Mel, but I'm pretty smart. Sorry, Mel. No, I'm kidding. Mel's a genius. You don't need to explain that. Like I get it immediately. So don't feel like you have to go into a full, if it helps to talk it out, that's great. But I'm on board.
Okay.
So yeah, got that. See if you can just give me the next 3.
Okay. So the next one would be like making the space. Sorry, my kids are screaming in the background. They're fighting from outside.
Okay, that's relevant.
But my husband's dealing with it. So there we go. Okay. So basically, the next part would be like creating the space in your life for doing it. So the first one would be like kind of reframing beliefs about time.
Yep. Okay. Let's go to the next one. I got spaced.
So reframing views about money, like especially like getting out of debt, because that's a big thing. Like, if you're always trying to keep up with people, like you're always going to be kind of stuck in that. And then the last one would be like thinking about your future. Like, okay, so you've created this space, but where are you going with it?
Okay. Great. Give me a second here.
So you have faith, partner, kids, space, money, future. I missed one? Or are those the 6?
Yeah, those are the 6. Well, the foundational one, yeah. So faith, partnership, kids, time, money, and future.
So space.
Okay. I'm trying to chunk it into 3, but I keep feeling like there's 4 that I could go to 4. But because future, I think, is a big one. So I made that vision as one of them. And I think faith is a big one. So I really wanted to keep that. But then the partnership with spouse or a significant other or whatever, and relationship with kids can get chunked into one if it resonates with you as like getting, partnership in general. Partnership and support and alignment with every key person in your life, whether it's your kids, your spouse,
So like more family is faith family.
Yeah, it could be that too. That could be another word. I like the idea of partnership because it's more of an active thing. It's like we got to create partnership or synergy or whatever with our family. But again, I'm not trying to tell you what to teach or anything. I'm just trying to see if there's a way we can chunk it into 3. But then I liked how you have time and money stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm trying to fit that into those 3, and I don't feel like I can. It's so significant, but we could do, they could have a 4th pillar, and then we'd have to use a different, so someone said faith, family, and future. That's great, but we're missing a big piece of this, which could be around beliefs or what was the other word I was going to use? You could do relationships, but it's like your relationship with time and money. There's another one there that you could really do.
If you paired them, I mean, you can put 2. If just doing something.
Oh, I got an idea.
The challenge with doing this is that when you start to put 2 on each axis, that each side, it starts to complicate it a little bit.
Yeah,
if I can connect it to the same emotional states, then it's not as problematic. So you can put faith and family together, money and future together, possibly time and space. I don't know. So I mean, there may be a way to do that if you can't get it down to 3.
Mel, I have an idea too.
Yeah.
We could chunk time and money into vision.
Yep.
So it's like a vision for your finances, a vision for your time, something like that. And I'm trying to make that work. But I like 4 is what I'm seeing. So does that happen? Do people then say, okay, I have to kind of abandon the triangle here and go to a different shape?
Yes. So that's where I was going. Remember I said that you can use a Venn diagram, or you can use a quadrant model, or a triangle. And in this situation, if we see that we can't group it into 3, we end up going to something like this and dropping it in here.
Mm-hmm.
And can work it just the same from there.
But I have one other idea, because I'm so stubborn I can't give up on something until I figure it out. When we talk about vision, we could sit there and say vision is the outcome, right? So the vision is, what did we say? Calm. So we could argue that is the vision, is to get you to a place of space and calm and, working less or whatever it is, right? If that is, then I would get rid of vision as a pillar and say it's come down to faith, family, or partnerships, or like unity or something like that. And then either beliefs, but I don't want to use beliefs in this because I think you might confuse
with the faith
when you're talking about faith.
Yeah.
And so, some really good, some good word there, like resources or something else there. I don't love using mindset. I encourage you guys not to use mindset.
I'm not. Yeah, I would say I'm not sure mindset would be a familiar term.
And just so you know, one of my favorite tools when I'm doing this is I have thesaurus.com opened up.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I go beliefs. All right, I'll throw that in there. Let's just see. And I just start digging and digging and digging and seeing. And so it is a process to bring that up. And there's going to be words that really resonate with you. And then we need to make sure they resonate with your customers.
Right.
The best judgment for your framework is first what response it gets from your audience. Second, what does it feel like for you to deliver it? If you get a great response but it's awkward for you, it's a problem. If they don't get a response but it feels great for you, it's a problem. They both need to be in place.
Yeah. Here's where we can play around with some F alliterations. We can do faith, family, and freedoms.
Yep.
You can talk about your time freedoms and your financial freedoms, or you could play around with that. But just an idea to get us going. And this is it's a work in progress, guys. All of this is, and it will land or it won't, and we tweak it and we change. But we're here doing this not because we're going to go through 300 people's individuals, but to see and experience and observe as a fly on the wall what this process really looks like. And here's two people that have done this a lot, and it still takes time. We're creating our art right now. So we're going to go through this next part really fast just so we can be really mindful of time. So let's do this. Let's focus on faith for a moment. Give me a word, 2 or 3 to describe how they would feel when they don't have faith in their life. And is that the right question? Or maybe their faith is being questioned or whatever. Mel, is that the right question to ask?
Yeah, I think that the other way to ask it is what problem does faith solve? And
very good. Great.
That problem.
Right.
Okay.
And the pain. I was just looking at someone. The pain really needs to be a current pain, something that's sitting in their lap now, not something that's future based. Because they won't associate with it now. So we want it to be a current emotional state.
I think probably it would be just this fear that I'm not a good enough mom, and I'm not doing enough for my kids. I think so a lot of it would be fear-based rather than like kind of in my Christian circles, like a lot of it's like, our identity is in Christ. It's not in what we do. It's not like our workspace. So I think that would be how I would talk about it.
Yep.
So is it, I see some words in here, self-doubt, worthiness, things like that.
Yeah. So unworthiness might be or not good enough.
Yeah. Inadequate. Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
What about for family?
Just very hyper focused on our kids to the exclusion of our own goals and dreams and gifts and desires.
Yeah. However you can describe what it feels like to put your needs last.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe
Yeah.
Feel alone, not understood, not supported. Yeah.
It's the whole to use a metaphor, it's the oxygen mask on the airplane, like you're so busy
putting it on everybody else. Yeah, that's really good. And then what about how do they feel when they don't have these resources that give about freedom, like not enough time, not enough money?
I think alone, because you can't talk about it because then you're a failure. Like you're the only one having the struggle. And hopeless. I think it's just like, oh, nothing's ever going to change. It's not going to get better. It's just going to be like, stuck in this.
Faith, family, and freedoms is what I, yeah. Good, man. It's really neat how we just kind of started to come up with something, So now can we also just do the opposite now for the green?
Yeah. So what's their desire? If they don't want to feel inadequate, what do they really want?
I think they want confidence in their faith, or I don't know if confidence is the right word. I might have to think about like the exact right phrase, but I think yeah, I mean, I think confidence could work for now. I'll have to think on that one.
What does confidence give them?
Hope, maybe.
Hope,
instead of
hope for what?
hope that they don't, like, it's not all based on how good they are.
Okay. So if they have hope that it's not all based on how good they are,
Like
then
our hope is in Jesus, not in our own like list of good works.
sure. But so what do they want to feel then instead?
I think they want to actually believe that, or
Believe
like
what?
to kind
They
of
wanna-
shift from thinking that it all depends on them to recognizing that it doesn't depend on what they do.
And if it doesn't depend on that, then what does that say about who they really are?
Just that there's a lot of pressure to perform.
No,
And
no. If that pressure isn't there and it doesn't all depend on that, then who are they really?
who they really are. I mean,
Is
daughters of God.
yeah, maybe that's even better. But I'm trying to get questions to lead you to who they really. They're like, well, wouldn't that be nice if I could just feel this and know this to be true? Does that make sense? Like if they could just like wish for it, like wave a magic wand and just like, I wish I could just be this or feel that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where the confidence comes in. Like I wish that I just knew, or I just
knew what though is what I'm looking for.
Knew that I didn't have to strive.
And if I didn't have to, I want to state this in the positive. If I didn't have to strive, then who I would be is a person that is what?
Peaceful and confident.
Okay. Peaceful came in there, so I don't know.
Okay.
At peace, peaceful, enough, whatever starts to resonate. But notice I'm going to keep asking questions with people to see if there's anything else. Oh, what's behind this? What's behind that? And sometimes, bam, we hit on a really good one, Okay, then what was the other one? So if they had, if right now they don't have enough time and money and they feel trapped, what would they experience as an emotional state if they had more time and more money?
I mean, less, everything would be less frenetic. Like it wouldn't be like running around.
This is really good too. I'm gonna push you a little bit on your. I see a pattern of you describing in the undesired still. So things would be less frenetic. But if I asked you, what do you want in your life? You could say, I want to be less frenetic, but the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between, the positive or the negative. It just focuses on what? Frenetic.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to focus it on the outcome. So what's the opposite of frenetic?
Calm, peaceful.
Yeah, but we got that as the main one. So peaceful, space, relaxed. Yeah. Worry-free is kind of it still has worry in it, but yeah, whatever is a synonym for like worry-free, present, at ease. Yeah. Serenity. There you guys go. Thank you. Okay. So here's the last thing now. You're going to now take us through, Shelly, and you're going to present this to us now that it's all right in front of you. Okay. Now we're not going to build it out right now. We'll just leave it like this.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you ready? We're like all your ideal students. We just paid you a ton of money and because we love you and your work and we're like so excited to get started. And you're like, all right, guys, here's how we're going to work together. So you ready?
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. So I'm excited that you're here. Okay. So there's 3 main points that we're going to be working through in this program. The first thing is dealing with our faith. The second thing.
I'm gonna already interrupt you.
Okay.
Where do we want to start? Where we are?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we're going to start with the problem. Okay. The pain. Yes. Okay. So in this program, our focus is going to be on moving from a place of chaos in our homes and chaos in our lives, in our emotional life and our family life and our financial life into a place of calm. That's going to be our main goal, is moving from a place of chaos to a place of calm. And we'll do that in 3 distinct areas of our life. So we'll look at our faith first and how that will move from chaos into calm. And then we'll look at our family and relationships. And then finally, we'll look at freedoms as far as it revolves around our time and our finances and our future.
And I'm just going to pause you because, Mel, we want to do the red negative emotions, current emotions first, correct?
Yeah, you can do them one of two ways. You can, you're going to do all the red emotions first, because let's just go back to what Jen taught. What are we really doing here? We're teaching the why.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're teaching a why stack here. I want to take them from chaos to calm. I want you, because what I've noticed working, you gave the language for that. What I've noticed working with so many people is that people are feeling inadequate, and they feel this, and they're feeling trapped, and their families in dysfunction. Those kinds of things that are going on. So we can fix that.
And another way to say this too is, if we're describing the problem and the solution, which one do we describe first? The problem.
The problem, yeah.
Right. So there's the problems. And if you're not there in calm, you're probably feeling inadequate, you're feeling trapped, and you're feeling alone. Right. And so in order to get us from chaos to calm, we need these three pillars. Does that sound accurate, Mel?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you do, I would say, one pillar. And then once you say one pillar, you say that'll take you from this to this.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So break it, like separate it one at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so this would be like
the pillars are the solutions to the red lines.
Okay. So focus on one at a time rather than going through all of them. Yeah. Okay. So so it's like today I'm going to walk you through the three pillars so that we can go from a place of chaos in our lives to a place of calm. And I know I'm using your language, and I know that you might be thinking, this is hopeless. My life is so stressful. You have no idea. I don't know which way is up, and I forget my kids' birthdays.
Mm.
And I get it, because I have been there myself, and I've been around a lot of other women who have a similar struggle. But we can work through this. So first, we're going to talk about the way that our faith is involved in this. And so we'll look at how we can go from a place of feeling inadequate as moms, feeling inadequate as people in our family, how we can go from that to a place of confidence in our faith and our place of conviction that that our identity is in Christ. And then secondly, we'll go and look at relationships, and we'll talk about the amount of support that we need, because right now we can't do it on our own. We're overextended and we're stressed. And so we need to go and be able to create partnerships with people in our lives so that we can move toward that calm and move toward that place of partnership with people. And then finally, we're going to look at freedom and different freedoms in our time and in our finances, and also in our future, and what our goals are for our future, for our family, and for our own lives. And so we'll talk about how we can go from feeling like we don't have enough of any of those things to coming to a place where we have more peace and more, and we feel more relaxed in those areas.
Awesome.
That was incredible.
That was good.
Your first time doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh,
Like on the fly with it all there, the way Mel said, don't do it, don't have it all on the screen at once. So here's can I give critique and feedback? Would you like notes?
Absolutely.
Okay, here's the biggest note I'd want from this when you do this, and this is, you just practice this, guys, and then it just becomes so natural and easy. I want to hear that the way from chaos to calm is these three pillars.
Okay.
I really want to hear that line. And the way to do that, we have to focus on these three things. So it really hits that when you reveal faith, family, and freedoms, that these are chunked up pillars. What I mean by chunked up is you're not just giving the answer, you're giving the direction to where the answer lies. So there's going to be more to be desired. I want to learn how to create these symbiotic, synergistic partnerships with my members of my family. I want to learn how to apply my faith properly and create a new relationship around my faith. And I want to learn how I can have more of these freedoms. It shouldn't be the answers. It should be the way to the answers. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. So then it's like, oh my goodness, by the end of this, how people should feel is say, so what you're saying is all I got to do is focus on these three things.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, yeah, and I'm going to teach you how to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that takes this from a one-dimensional presentation to a multi-dimensional presentation with layers. And now all of a sudden, faith will have layers underneath it. Family will have layers underneath it, and freedoms will have. So now all of a sudden you have depth. The beauty behind this is that when Shelly gets called for a podcast interview, or James calls me and says, hey, what are you doing? Let's just record something. You have it already here, and all that depth is already in your mind, and it's so easy to go present.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I really want to stress again that when you reveal those three, that it does leave something to be desired. I give this real simplistic example of like, what if one of my pillars was gratitude? Okay. That would be an awful pillar, even though gratitude is like one of the most important things. So if I said one of the pillars is you just got to be grateful, it's like, okay, well, done.
Yeah.
Like I can just, okay, great, be grateful. Like I'm done. And you want people to go deeper with this. So when you say family, you say this pillar is about recreating the roles and establishing aligned partnerships with every single person in your family. So you are all a cohesive, supportive unit. And there is a specific way that we can do this with each member in your family. And when you do that, what you'll have is desired emotion.
Exactly.
Okay. Faith. There is a set of whatever beliefs or thought patterns or ways that we can approach this to reignite your faith and renew your relationship with God so that it is, gives you the confidence, the knowing, the conviction, right? And so that leaves it to be desired. It's chunked up to here's the what. It's not just here's everything you need to know, see you later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that helping?
Yeah. So it's kind of giving the vision for it too, and not just like the outcome, the big picture outcome, the vision. And like, is that?
Yeah. It's just, when you reveal like family, you don't just say like, talk to your family more or something, like it's
right.
got to leave something to be desired. Like
you're painting a picture of what they really want.
It's painting a picture of what they want, but the pillars are there to say, here's the three things I need to learn to go from chaos to calm.
Yeah, and the pillars are the gateway to the process.
Yes.
There's a process underneath each pillar.
Yes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I need to learn, how to heal and improve and communicate more in my relationships. I need to, maybe learn some ways on how I can renew my faith or whatever. And I need to learn some ways that I can create more structure, time, and money in my life.
Okay.
Yes, the pillars can be the modules. They probably should be.
Okay. So it would be a smaller thing with three modules. Then it wouldn't be like one of those 10 module kind of things.
Well, it's amount as we'll talk about modules next, but it's as many modules as it needs to be. So right. You can do 2 modules for each of those.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It just depends on really what's the content you're teaching. So,
okay.
Yeah. So, but that puts it all here where I go, okay, so I want to go from chaos to calm and go from, and by the way, here's the other thing why this thing is important. I talk about this all the time in my stuff, external and internal. You want to lead with external, and chaos is more external. Chaos describes more an external. And what Mel has here on the ends of the triangles is more internal, how we feel about the external. So for everybody doing this exercise, you really should start with something external, like broke to $1 million is a very simplistic example. I'm not saying use it, but that's external. That's something you can tangibly hold. I can look at chaos It's not a very specific example, but it is external. Like, oh my gosh, you open up the door and you go into their house and it's just chaos. That's an external representation of reality or description of reality. But if I say I feel scared, that's an internal description and representation of my internal state.
Yeah.
And that's already being described on the ends of the pyramid here, triangle. So internal and external. Okay. All right. Really good. Shelley.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
There you go, Shelley.
Yeah. Okay, Mel, stop sharing your screen.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Thank you.
And then we're going to wrap it up. Has this been helpful so far? Well, good. All right. Here we go. I want to share 13 specific, actionable, and what did I say here? Epic, cool, epic and cool stuff for designing your program. All right. All right. So let's do number one. This is what I call the master mentor. That's you guys now. The master mentor, the master coach, the master thought leader, your welcome video. The welcome video is I'm going to go really fast over this stuff. So buckle up. This is because there's 13 of these things. This is the video they see as soon as they join. So let me ask you, if you look at someone's excitement level, as I did this with you yesterday, when are people usually most excited? After they join. Yeah, right at the beginning. When are they then more likely to do something outside their comfort zone? At the beginning, right? What a powerful opportunity. So here, would you guys like a little template on how to have your first video to your members when they join? Even if this is a live program, you should have a pre-recorded video. So first of all, there's a welcome and a thanks. Welcome to Business by Design. Thank you so much for investing and choosing me as your mentor. Wow, that's really hard, isn't it? Next, you want to reinstate the promise and remind them why you signed up. Reinstate the promise. We are always selling, folks. And people have buyer's remorse. Okay? So I am so glad that you decided to join us here in Business by Design, the industry's leading, most effective program in helping digital CEOs like you rapidly grow and scale your online business so you can reach more customers, have bigger launches, help more people, and make more money. That's what we're here to do, okay? Remind them. Then we want to do some future pacing. Who knows what future pacing is? Future pacing is where I'm going to take your mind and I'm going to take you out to the outcome that we both want. And we're going to start talking about that. So you can sit there and say, by the time you finish this program or by the end of this course or after these 8 weeks are complete or whatever it is, you're going to be so glad that you stayed committed and took action and joined us, because by the end, and you can now go into an internal promise, you're going to feel so clear and so confident because by now you'll have everything you need to go out and benefit, benefit, benefit. Okay? Now, let's get them to do something right now. So if you're excited, if you're in, if you're committed, here's what I want you to do right now. Boom. And then you have them do that thing right now. Then they get a quick win. What does a quick win do for your people? It reinforces everything. So you want to spend time on this. You want to asterisk and star and circle this one, because that right there is a game changer. You get somebody to have a win right out of the gate within 24 hours. Oh, it's going to be so beneficial for them. They're like, this really does work. She really is amazing. Okay, let's keep doing. Can you give an example of a quick win? Yeah. So when I taught my YouTube course, I would do two things. Number one, I'd give them a 12-step YouTube channel makeover checklist. Here's like 7, 10, whatever things you can do right now in the next 20 minutes to give your YouTube channel a complete makeover. And you can do this really fast. Or I would do something like this. and say, do you have an existing any YouTube videos already that are already on YouTube that aren't getting a lot of views? Take one of your lowest videos right now and follow these 6 things, and it's going to help rank the video even higher. What did I do in BBD? I forgot, Christina. I always do something. Okay, so that's number 1. Okay, number 2, we're going to just talk a little bit about specific modules, video, like if someone's doing a course or whatever. Modules, videos, length, oh my, all these questions that come up. I'm just going to give my quick thoughts on these. First of all, when I see 20 modules, I think that sounds a little ridiculous. I really like between 4 and 8, okay? And a module is like a chapter, okay? You should have benefit-driven names with all of your things, your modules and your titles. Sexy thumbnails, I love the sexy thumbnails. 4 to 8 videos per module. And 12 minutes is a great average length per video, okay? So if people are like, but my video is 13, or I have 9 videos, or I have 11 modules, like, it's all right. Chill out a little bit. But I want to give some extreme, well, I'll give you our examples, and I'll give some extreme what not to do. So there's 6 modules, 6 core modules in Business by Design. They've all got these little fancy thumbnails. And then there's 7 videos in module 1. There's even a meditation at the end. We're going to talk about that. So there's examples of that, right? Okay. Let me give you an example of a course I'm going through right now that I would say, please don't do this. This course has, I think it's 8 or 10 modules. And how many videos are there per module? Can you guys see how many videos? I've circled it on the left. How many videos are there per module? Yeah, there's 1. Why do you need modules if there's only 1 video in there? It's just an 8 video program. And Nicholas says it's 47. No, actually, I'm only 47 minutes through the video, and I'm not even halfway. It's like 100-minute plus long 1 module video, or 1 video module. And the content's great. I love it. And no, I would never refund. Absolutely not. Like, these are the things that some people get so silly and hung up about. I mean, the content's amazing and I love it. But if you have a choice and you know now, you don't have to do this. Yeah, a short video where you can just be like, I'm going to learn this thing, I'm going to do something, I'll move on, will give people more of an experience of like, I'm making progress, baby. Look at me. I'm 5 videos down. I'm 6 videos. Look at me now. Okay? But the value doesn't change because it's a 100-minute video. The experience does, but the value, what's in the video doesn't. I love this program. I'm learning a lot from it. Okay? But, I have to sit there and be like, oh, that was weird that he did that. Whatever. And then don't do this. This is the opposite. This is another real estate program I'm going through. How many modules do you see here? 32 modules. And there's 3 videos in each module. And look how long the videos are. 20 seconds, 1 minute 48, 2 minutes, 1 minute 33 seconds, 40 seconds. Yeah, there's a happy medium. So I'm showing you what not to do on the extremes. And guess what? Guess what? I love both of these courses. I still love both of them. Why? Because the content is phenomenal. I've gotten so much value that's made me far, far, far more than I ever paid for these. So you guys know better now, but this isn't where your focus should be anyways. You're like, oh, James, you said 8 modules and I have 9. It doesn't matter. Okay. All right. Next one, creating exercises by asking questions. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of what, folks? Questions. Yeah, exactly. Ask some really great questions. That's going to be so good. And then if you want to ninja that up, you want to double that up, you want to give examples. Do you notice that we took the time with Mel's framework to bring someone on? Thank you, Shelly and Camille. and go through an example. And then people in the comments were like, okay, I didn't understand it before, but because we went through that example, now I get it. Basically, everything I teach, I make sure to include a real example. So people would say, here's what a student did. Here's the answers that a student gave. And then I'll like critique it. Ooh, the example is the what if. That's really good. Okay, so in BBD, we have this entire messaging framework, you know, whether you want to do like a webinar or challenge or a video series or live launch, whatever. And so there's a freaking amazing framework. And the framework is all a series of questions that start coming together. But people are like, I answered the question, did I do it right? I don't know. So then I have pages and pages of examples of real students that says, here's what they did in this niche. And here's how I would critique their answer. And here's how I would change it. And that's where the students are learning. So you got to have examples, right? Okay. So again, boom, you could do so much just with number 3, right? Creating when you guys go back and watch this replay, you can have a drinking game and get really inebriated if you took a drink every time I asked you guys a question or gave you an exercise. Right? Please don't do that. I'm not recommending that you actually do that, except for Jeff. Jeff and I will do it. Okay, number 4, we want to look for other ways to extend the learning experience beyond the transference of knowledge. How can you create more ways to offer an experience besides here's just this information? Now, frameworks is obviously a tool to do that, right? But there's so many other things we can do. Like, I know we have a lot of coaches and healers. If you're not doing things like meditations or visualizations or affirmations or anything of that nature, you're missing out on a beautiful experience or opportunity to create a unique experience for your people. Okay. So anything you can think like that. Here's what I call life exercises. This is something that Jim does that I love. Jim Fortin is he has people do like homework and exercises that are like part of the program. Like one of them is like, you got to go lay down in the middle of the mall, like the middle of the sidewalk and let people walk past you. Right? Like that's an experience. Oh my gosh, of learning. It's experiential learning. And there's so many things that we could do, you know, like giving people assignments or things that they have to go do. You know what I mean? That's part of it. And it just opens up so much. Okay. So I know I'm going fast over these, but I got a lot to cover. All right. Here's really exciting stuff. Anything you can start looking up with tools, software, calculators, anything that makes their lives easier. They can think less. I'm going to give you some examples here. I purchased another real estate program, and I was a little bummed with it because everything I bought for it is a $2,000 course. I already knew. It was like how to get your home, and I already had it. And I thought it was going to be more on like, all right, how to start getting rentals and bookings and stuff like that. However, in there was a 4-page, 6-page Excel spreadsheet calculator called the Short-Term Rental Analysis Spreadsheet. You plug in your address, you plug in your purchase price, your down payment, and a few other things, and it gives you everything. Unbelievable. Your expenses and how much your profit's going to be every month, predicting, you know, what your all this stuff. Basically, before you go make a big investment like buying a home, it gives you all the numbers on one page. You could see everything. And exactly, I didn't even need to go through a single video. I'm not joking. I'm sharing this as a real life example. This is worth 10 times the investment just to have this. Because what would it cost to not have this and buy the wrong property at, let's say, $500,000? Now you're losing money. I mean, it's invaluable, right? So one tool like this can just save someone's life. In BBD, we offer calculators for every type of launch we do. This is really cool. So someone says, I want to do a launch. We go, great. What kind of launch do you want to do? And they say, I want to do a webinar. And so we say, okay, what's your sales goal and what's your offer price? And you plug those two numbers in, any number that you want, and it will actually tell you, here's how many registrants you need, Here's how many attendees you need to have. Here's how many sales you got to have on the call, after the call. Here's how much your ads you got to spend. Here's how much it's going to cost per person to get them registered. All the high level metrics that matter, right? Yeah, the calculators are amazing because a lot of people focus on the number, like the sales number, like got to get 100,000, got to get 100,000. But then you do the calculator and you're like, oh, I just got to get my 500 people registered. Focus on the 500. Get those people registered, those 500. What? So what app did I use? Calculoid is the name of a service. You can hire, you can go to Upwork and you can get really inexpensive programmers to build out things. There's all kinds of apps and services and stuff today. It's so neat. But you can even just do an Excel spreadsheet that you share with your members. That's all this is. It's just an Excel or a Google Numbers or Google whatever, Google Sheets. Okay, so can you do a calculator or a piece of software? A piece of software would be huge. Let's talk about additional resources. Anything else that makes their lives easier or think less. So can you have a buyer's guide? Oh yeah, one of the Airbnb products I bought, he has a buyer's guide of everything you need to buy for every room in the house. The sheets he recommends, the toilet paper holders that he recommends, to what type of coffee maker to get, the best glasses. I'm like, are you kidding me? You know how long it would have taken me to research this and find this? That's unbelievable. And there it is. And I just went click, 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 add to cart, checkout, boom. Boxes and boxes came to the house. And then I went on to Handy. I hired a handyman for the day and he set up the whole house. Yeah, kit.co. Great resource. You can list out your buyer's guides on kit.co and you can have affiliate links. You can make additional money from this. It's huge. Okay. Checklists. So with my video stuff, I used to have a day of filming checklist. So you print out this checklist and it's everything that you need to have before you press record on the camera. So do you have your script? Do you have your backdrop? Do you have your lighting? Do you have your mics? Have you turned off all the noises and distractions in the background, like an air conditioner? You know, do you have a fresh SD card? Do you have fresh batteries in the mics? All these little things. And people loved it. They're like, I just print this out and I just like check on it before I go. Right? So things that help people prepare, things that help people get done, you know, shopping checklists, you know, shopping lists. Like, I guess it's kind of like a buyer's guide, but you know, they overlap, I guess. Okay. And then of course, any visual maps, graphs, and charts as well. I'm not just talking frameworks here, but a lot of the strategies that I teach, there's visual flow charts of like what a launch looks like, how your webinar looks like visually. And I'm going to show you an example of that. And then step-by-step processes. Okay, this is where we really lean into with BBD. It's like Lego instruction manual, baby. It's just step by step by step. So if you're just telling people in a video, like, here's what to do, you know, like you learned yesterday from Jen, there's gonna be people that are like, wait, I really need to follow at such extreme step-by-step detail, like I'm reading an instruction manual. So we provide the instruction manuals, right? So there's an example of a visual flow of a webinar launch. You can see it says start here. You know, we want to use Facebook ads and emails to get people to a registration page, and it goes to a thank you page. There's 3 segments after the webinar, you know, didn't attend, you know, and all of this. And then I go in and I explain what each of these segments are, but people have a big picture visual, okay? And then these are examples of our processes. So we used a piece of software called Process Street, and every step, I mean, you just see like, there's an arrow, click this button, now click this, now do this, now add this. And then there's examples next to it. I mean, it's step by step detail. That's crazy, right? I can even go further into that. Like you can take these processes and then plug it into your own account and have a VA manage it and go through it all for you. That's what we wanted to do to really make our program unique and different. Okay, and these are the opportunities that you guys have. Okay, I know I'm going fast. I included this as a separate one because this is really great. Swipe files. So who doesn't know what a swipe file is? You can just say me, that's okay, I'll teach you real quick. Cool. So swipe file is just more examples. Really, it's just examples. And it may not fit every niche and market. Like you don't need a swipe file of someone else's fitness routine necessarily. But let's say, you know, you're teaching Instagram. It'd be really cool to have swipe files of other people's Instagram profile in every different market. So you could say, okay, I'm a fitness trainer and I want to learn Instagram from this person. Oh, let me see this fitness example of an Instagram profile. Okay. So swipe files are simply examples of existing copy or content material that you can use as inspiration. And I'm going to tell you, I love swipe files. As everyone here, you are a marketer, whether you've realized that or not yet. You should have a little screen grab, what are those things called? Plugin on your browser. Anytime you come across a great piece of great marketing, you need to screen grab that and save that. Yeah, an extension, thank you. You need to save that. So you create your own swipe file list. Right? What we do for our students, we give them, and this is a little surprise they get, it's 200, I think it's 190 something pages, like 194 pages of swipe files of our best students and their best work. So we give them email swipe file examples, sales page examples, Facebook ad examples, landing page examples. I think those are the majority of them. And they can go through categories like, oh, I really am stuck creating a Facebook ad. Oh, here's examples of proven high converting Facebook ads to work from. Here's why this is so great. This is this big thing. It's 200 pages. It just kind of becomes this like reference guide. But it doesn't, so it's a ton of value that you can offer your students, but it doesn't overwhelm them. So if I gave you guys all right now, I said, hey, I want to give you a swipe file of 20 students that have great frameworks using everything that Mel taught. And it was like 100 pages of framework examples that you could choose to reference from. Would that overwhelm you? Would you be like, oh my gosh, 100 is too much, right? No, because you don't need to read them all. You can just flip the page and open one up and look at it, right? It would be awesome. And so, but if I said, hey guys, I want to give you a 45 module course with 90-minute videos each, wouldn't you get overwhelmed, right? So swipe files are a way to provide amazing value without the overwhelm. It's like, why wouldn't you do it if it works? If your audience can benefit, depending on your market, your niche, why wouldn't you do it, right? Okay, getting physical. All right, you guys still with me? All right, so I am a huge fan of taking the online and going offline. Huge, because most people won't do it. It's too much money. It's too much work. You want to know one of my secrets? I just do exactly what everyone else complains about. That's what I do. So people complain about stuff like that, and then we do it. So anything you can do to, create an experience offline for people. This is what we do. We get a big old box of epic stuff. It's this welcome box for our members, and it includes the complete course manual of the entire program. It includes that 200-page swipe file book. We even have other really fun things like our affirmation cards, a free ticket to our live event, and then we give them this really neat USB drive with all this secret bonus content that isn't available anywhere else. It's pretty cool. And then there's a welcome letter. I love giving people something tangible to hold on to, something that they can have a lasting experience with. Company that we use is called Vervante. I'll let someone type it out. VERVANTE.com. Vervante. They are amazing. They're so good, and it's not that expensive. It's really not that expensive. For like $20 a student or a customer, they could get something really neat in the mail. And it could be as simple as like a USB drive and a welcome letter. You don't have to go crazy with us. You know what the most expensive part of this whole package was the box. You don't even need a box. Okay, then number 9, the virtual community. You know, bringing people together, even just like how you guys are connecting here, you're connecting in our Facebook group. That's huge. So we still use and recommend a Facebook group. I would recommend it for your programs. Yes, for questions and support, but it's probably not going to be great for customer support. Our students know customer support, you go to customer success at jameswedmore.com because the rest of the students don't want to know that you lost your password. Okay. So yeah, having a Facebook group is going to be great. Number 10, offering a layer of virtual coaching. Real simple, right? Offering group calls, get them on Zoom. You don't even need to train or teach on anything else. Just opening up for hot seats, asking questions, sharing wins. Real simple, right? Gives more support. Number 11, I told you guys to go fast. The in real life experience, bringing people together in person when we're allowed to again, is such an incredible way to bring your program to a whole nother level. That's what we do. Okay. Now, like I said, and I warned you before, do you just go implement all of these? No way. Don't bite off more than you can chew, right? So one thing at a time. And yes, thank you, Tiffany. BBD Live started with 40 people. This one had 600 people in the room. And that was 3.5 years in the making. So, yeah. So, you guys starting to see some stuff that you could start to implement? Oh, here's one. Bring in guest experts. Like I did with Mel and Jen. Yeah. You guys get to have different perspectives, you know, hear from different learning styles, different teaching styles. Didn't it just enhance the value to bring in Mel and Jen? Like, I don't know everything. Okay, I know everything. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I want to bring in, you know, complementary peers and students to support the work that we're doing. I know, Jody, that's very good. It wasn't 147, it was cheaper than that. 147 gets you both. I talked about it yesterday. I said, I don't actually know how to create something that's only 47 bucks. I just don't know how. Okay, so could you guys all do that? Could you find someone else as a guest expert, interview them, offer a bonus training? You don't need to pay them. You can swap. You can say, hey, I'd love to offer something for your community. Are you interested in bringing something for mine? You know, my people know, like, you know, Jen and Mel are smart enough to know that they just got introduced to a bunch of new people. And a lot of you are going to go connect with either of them and keep working with them. So they know it benefits them. Mel who? All right. Okay, so out of these 12 so far, you feel like there's at least, I know I went really fast over these, but I don't want to keep you here all day. We started at 11. Do you feel like there's any one additional that you guys could choose and implement and add? Go ahead and let me know if you can remember. I can go back through them really fast, but there's one thing you can go add specifically. Yeah, like a welcome gift, a calculator, some swipe files, some sort of unique experience, bringing in guest experts, gifts, a checklist, a welcome video, community. Yeah, it was awesome. Swipe files, checklist, runway checklist. Cool. Great. So one last one. See if I can move this out of the way a little bit more. Number 13. is really like end it well, you know? And I think when you end it well, you want to make sure that you congratulate them for making it to the end. Probably want to recap so you remind them of all the awesomeness they just learned. And then probably future pace them, because they're going to go leave your program and go out in the world and put it into action. And you want to kind of be there in their mind with them as they go out and do that. Right? And, you know, anything you can do there, maybe there's some sort of celebration or certificate or congratulations, or even doing something like at that point asking them for a testimonial or sharing their results or anything. But I'd be very strategic about how you want to end it, and end it with a bang. You know, one last video, or, you know, even just titling it like "Where We Go From Here." You know, something to that effect. Makes sense, right? Well, it's also the end here. So you guys did it. Yay. Congratulations. So here's the deal. It's 2:30, 12, 1, 2, 3.5 hours today. We did about 3.5 hours yesterday. A lot of you guys have been here for this entire time. Not everyone has, right? But I think we really have to commend and acknowledge those that are here live. I know we all have commitments and other stuff, but you know, that says a lot about you for doing that. So here's my little end. You know, first off, huge congrats to you guys. This is a lot. This is a lot. And you can also see how much deeper this can all go. Okay. And I talked about commitment at the beginning of the first day, didn't I? You guys really demonstrated that commitment. And I don't want you guys to belittle that or ignore that or downplay that. That's a really big deal. So much other stuff calling your attention. Plus, this is a holiday weekend. That's a really big deal. So congratulations. I also hope that you can see that you now have more than enough that will allow you, for the structure and the flow, to create a program that will truly change lives and make you a ton of money. Both are awesome. Recapping here, because that's a good thing to do next. You learned how to identify and shift the limiting beliefs that your customers have, the beliefs that are preventing them from finishing your course, taking action on your program, and getting results. You learned a very powerful 4-step teaching method, a method that connects with all the different types of students, different types of learners, different types of thinkers. You learned how to create frameworks. We talked about metaphors and other belief-changing language patterns. You learned my influence framework. And then, of course, I shared with you all the what works for us tricks for a product that's now generated over 8 figures in sales in like just a couple of years. So you got this. Is there more out there? Yes. Will there always be more out there? Yes. But is it enough to get going? It's more than enough. It's more than enough. So you do. You guys got this. So let me ask you guys this, because I have to ask. So someone's already brought it up. Like, how's this only like 47 or 97 or whatever? Let me ask, please. Now that you're on the other side of what we've talked about, how much would you have paid for this? And I got to check my question box. I got to know. $5. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah. And, you know, thank you guys. I'm not, you know, interested in raising the price or charging any more for it. So don't worry. I'm just hopefully giving you guys, number one, an opportunity to see the value that you see, but also that you can do that with your audience as well, to remind them of what a great deal they got when they worked with you, how much of a no-brainer it was. Okay. That's an opportunity that you can do. And if we're being honest, if we go back to the beginning when you guys said a minimum of like 10K a month is what you're missing out on sales, you know, it's worth even more than that, right? If you really listened and applied, you know, what was taught here. And I'll leave my little thing up here. Hopefully I can still, I'm going to move this guy out of the way for a second. So by the way, I actually love to put a lot of text on the screen because I know that when I read it and you read it along with me, you'll actually retain more of it. Did you know that? So the other thing I just wanted to end with is definitely a huge thank you, huge gratitude, huge. I talked a little bit about my story and I struggled for a really long time. Like I will never, ever let a day pass where I'm not humbled and grateful for the opportunity that I have. It is an absolute privilege that I do not take lightly to be able to share something here with you guys, that you guys will listen. Okay, you don't. It's not like you have a shortage of options. So I really don't take that lightly, and I really truly express my gratitude. So when someone says, "How is this only 147?" is because I don't know how else to operate than to just, bring it. And you guys, to give me your time, I want to give you everything I got. Okay, so it's an honor. It really is. And after our time here comes to an end, sad tear, single tear, and you begin to take what you've learned here and integrate it, yes, act on it, let go of those old beliefs, and really begin to create and put your program out there in the world, operate from your dharma, your purpose. Can we all agree that you'll probably have some bad days, right? Like you'll get writer's block. You'll be staring at one of those frameworks, like one of Mel's triangles for like an hour, going, gosh darn it, right? Or you'll get more confused, or you'll do what we've heard a common theme here is like, I think I need to pivot, right? I think I'm lost. I think I'm further behind. We start to self-sabotage, right? Like hesitating, delaying, avoiding going outside our comfort zone. Maybe you'll start to see there's more limiting beliefs there. The most important thing is what? You're becoming aware of them. You're recognizing it. But the real question we have to ask is when you start recognizing these things, which will happen for all of us, myself included, what separates those that are successful from those that remain unsuccessful is the answer to this question. When those things inevitably happen, what will you do? Who are you in those moments? How do you show up? And what do you think most people do in these moments? They quit. They give up. It's too hard. It's too complicated. It's too overwhelming. It's too much work. And they quit. Well, I'm hoping that's not what you choose. I hope you'll choose to operate from a whole new you, right? Perhaps you'll think back to this training, maybe. Remember what I talked about, what I've been talking about in both of our trainings. The law of Dharma means that you're here for a reason. Like you exist with a specific intention and function in mind, a purpose, a calling, a reason why you exist, a unique gift or talent that you and you alone can deliver to the world. You would not be here for 6.5 hours of training if you didn't know that deep in your heart. You would have gone and watched Netflix by now. So the fact that you are the few that made it here to the end, that proves that, because most people won't. I think 600 and something people registered for this training alone. I think closer to 700. Just like it was for me, James, and all these other successful people that you look up to, that you follow, people that have been here, like Jen and Mel and Tiffany's here and Catherine's here yesterday, all these amazing people that I have an honor and privilege to hang out with. The process is messy. It's been messy for you guys during these last 2 days. And it's scary. And it's bumpy. There's really no avoiding that. The good news is when you go through that, that's how we grow. That's how we learn. That's how we become the person that we need to be in order to create the business that we want, the lifestyle we crave, and the impact that we're actually here to make. Because just like it was for me, your success is inevitable. So thank you guys again so much for allowing me to facilitate this training with you guys. Special thank you to Jen and to Mel for co-facilitating this with me. They're amazing. You guys are amazing. I appreciate you guys so much, even when I'm tough on you. I just want the best for you guys, and appreciate you guys so much. A little tough love. So thank you guys, and we're gonna get the replay out to this one pretty soon too. And you guys have lifetime access to the recordings. If this wasn't what you wanted, you can go get a refund. That's totally fine. Customer success at jameswedmore.com, and Alicia is our head customer success liaison, and we'll even let you keep the training. Yeah, I'll make sure you guys get the slides as well too. This will take a little bit of time to get the format and all that type of stuff too. Yeah, guys, thank you again. So when's the Rise of Digital CEO releasing? You guys remember the date? June 15th, baby. I'll see you all there. In the meantime, we've got our 100 leads, first 100 leads training if you haven't completed that. And join us in the free Facebook group, because the truth is I want you to start building your list. I want you clearing your niche, and I want you to have an idea and an outline for your program, because inside BBD, I just want to help you scale the crap out of it. I want to help you grow it. I want to help you reach more people and truly turn it into a business by your design. That's what we're here to do. That's what I want to help you with. So I want to make sure you're ready for that come June 15th. Okay. Info on first 100 leads. I don't think I have a link in front of me. jameswedmore.com/100. Is that right? There it is. First 100. Thanks, Jilly. Hey, look who's always on it. Thanks, Jilly. Everything with BBD is online, and it has a bonus event once people can like travel and all that stuff. So you'll get a free lifetime ticket to our 3-day event, BBD Live, and we will, you know, make sure that you can come to it when you're able to do that. You know. Yeah. All right, you guys. You're the best. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great rest of your weekend. I'm out. Take care, guys.
Okay, welcome back. I'm your host, James Wedmore here. We're moving right along. You're hanging out with me and some of the awesome, beautiful beta members here that have been with me for a few months at this point. And so if you've been following us up to this point, what do we got? We've got a clear promise. And from that promise, we've been able to create a step-by-step outline that takes them from where they are when they join to where they want to be. It fills the gap. And then in this last module, this last training video, we showed you what I think is probably the next best step, which is to start to trust the outline and start time releasing it or drip feeding this content out as an experience to your members over time. Whether it's live training or pre-recorded, that's up to you. There's no one way to do this. But now we need to start talking about how do we create the content? And it's going to be different for everybody, right? If we have someone like Jack on the call who's teaching guitar videos, he needs live action video. But you could use PowerPoint. You could use Keynote. I right now like to use Keynote for most of my stuff. Okay, so, you know, and then you could always do whatever works and then, you know, for now and then make it better. Improve it later, okay? The message is more important than the quality. Message over quality, okay? So, in this module, we simply go over really quickly how we could start creating your videos. Obviously, as you can see, I'm creating content live with you. So how am I doing this? Well, here's the first thing. If you're going to use Keynote or PowerPoint, we want to find a slide template. We really recommend a site called graphicriver.net because for less than $20, you can find a beautiful, totally customized Keynote or PowerPoint slide deck template. Comes with fonts and graphics and images and colors and everything you could think of. So now people are like, wow, look at her. She's got these professional slides. They never know that you just spent like $20, right? It's like the best $20 you'll ever spend. Okay. And then all you're doing is turning your outline into the slides. And then as you notice, as I'm doing this, I build out the slides. Like every time I press the space bar, something else gets added, and that's where animate comes in. Okay. And then I just, I'm eventually just talk to the slides. And that's where recording comes in. So again, we mentioned this briefly in the last video. If you're a Mac user, you're using Keynote, we record with ScreenFlow. So the first thing I do, and I'll just kind of show you, is we would open up ScreenFlow, and then we would do a record up at the top, like there's a little icon here, and it says start recording. And then we would just press play on our slide deck, and we just start talking, and it combines both of them. So easy, right? And then you want to make sure you have a really good audio source. You don't want to just use your computer audio. So the microphone we recommend is the Blue Yeti USB microphone. Blue Yeti, you can get it on Amazon for like $100, maybe less. Maybe less. I'm not sure exactly how much it is. Let's do a search for that. Now the mic I'm using is the Heel PR40 podcasting mic. So I have a whole podcasting station set up. So my audio is a little nicer. You don't need that. Save your money for now. Unless you're already doing a podcast, you can just use that microphone, okay? But then that's pretty much it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you real briefly how I would do this. So the best way I can do it is to take one of our beta members' outlines, and I'm just trying to figure out which one I want to use. I think I'll use this one. Okay, so this is what I would do. I'm going to take an outline, and I'm going to show you how we would do this. So first of all, I usually just like put my outline in the slide deck. So I love Keynote because I feel like I can do so much with it. The first thing I would do is I would start with a new slide, and I would make what I call a title slide. And so the title slide is really about saying the logo tagline goes up here, and then the module goes here, the lesson, and then you could put a logo in the corner, but you should put your name and picture here. Oops. Okay. So if you look, here's what a title slide looks for me. It says James Wedmore, Business by Design, module number 4, editing, exporting, and uploading. Okay. That's just a title slide. So I start there, and I usually just go, hey, welcome. This is module 4, lesson 1, editing, exporting, and uploading. I mean, you could just do that. And then I would create a second slide, which would be my agenda. That's always a great place to start, but ironically, I do this slide last. So I'll go agenda, and I'll just say add here. Okay. So let's look back at our module 3 outline. So this, I'd make my title slide for that. You don't need to see me make the title slide. But now each one of these is a different video. So live stream options. Okay, so what I would do is I would probably start by going, okay, I'm going to make a list of options. And then I would just do a pros and cons of each. And then, I don't know if I do anything else. I mean, that's pretty simple, right? So I'd say an agenda. I'm going to give you my list of live stream options. So tell them again, here's what we're doing here. Right? And I'd do a new slide. I'd say top 3 live stream options. And what I would do is as I list them out, 1, 2, and 3, look how quick we can do this, guys. I mean, this is simple. I could put a graphic here, right? Like for each one, maybe each one has a graphic so they could see the logo. And then I would say, hey, I've put the link to all 3 of these below this video. See how that helps people? They just click on a link and now they're over there and they could buy the option that you recommend. But then what I might do is break out the pros and cons. So this would be like option number 1, live stream. And then you could do like the pros, the cons, and then it's just like this and this and this, and I don't know why it always does. There you go. Okay, and then the cons. And then to animate it's really simple, right? So I could select this whole thing. I go over to animate and I go add effect by paragraph. And now all of a sudden I say, okay, so option number 1, we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about live stream. Now we'll talk first about the pros. Here's what I really like about it. The first is this, blah, 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 and then the second one is this, and then the third one is that. But here's some of the downfalls, the cons, this and this, okay? You guys get that? I mean, that's really how simple it can be. Okay, so I go through and I make my slides all the way through. So you'll see that we have module 4 coming up. Slides are done, right? And there's only a couple slides. It's really easy. You know, if we look at business by design, my entire course, there's a lot. We've broken them up into a couple of them. You'll see. So which one is the one I want to? Here it is. It was already open. Okay. So I put the entire course slides, like look at all this, into one slide deck. So here's my title slide, module 1, agenda, right? Module 2, or module 1, lesson 2, here's the agenda. And sometimes it's just a little bit of text on a screen, right? You guys get the idea. All right? So hopefully that helps. You know, you're going to want to have some fun with that. Make it creative. Make it your own. I like that things built so you only talk about one thing at a time so they don't get overwhelmed by all this stuff on a slide. But then once you do that, it's just time to record. You open up ScreenFlow, press record, play, and then go. All right? So that is it for this module. That's how quickly you can create content. Now, if you remember from the first module, we gave you some great ideas on how you can improve the engagement, right? Giving examples, graphics, formulas, models, you know, like the Venn diagram or a pyramid or something, an acronym. And that's going to really help structure everything and make it come together. Real life examples. Now we're going to open it up for questions really quick to the beta members. Is there any questions here? Like if I said, okay, go create your slide deck for this, or you could go outsource it. If you get really specific on the outline, you could totally outsource the slide deck. We do that. If you go to upwork.com, you can find a keynote designer. Just put an ad for keynote specialist, keynote maker, keynote slide deck maker. You give them your template. You give them 2 or 3 slides as an example, and you say, take my outline and go to work. That's going to save so much time. I have people on my team who are doing my slides for me, and then I come back and edit them. Please do that. It would save so much time. You have no idea. So much time. Okay, so any questions? Let's take a quick look at the group and see if we need any clarity or coaching. Sexy betas, yes. Okay, here, this is from Laura says, oh, nice. Laura just said, I'm going for another non-launch this week for Hire That Helps, live from the beach. Beautiful, well done. And then she says, I've done an even easier version in the past, made my slides really ugly, naked ones in Google, and recorded. Then sent to a freelancer to pretty up and tight in with the audio. Yeah, I think that's brilliant. Brilliant. Christelle says, when you are leading promotional webinars to sell the course, do you use the same system to record or simply just run with GoToWebinar and Keynote? No, I use the same system. Exact same way. Great question. Definitely. ScreenFlow and GoToWebinar. Use both. For sure. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Good, because this is very self-explanatory. It's at this point, it's just like, I just got to do the work. Someone has to do the work, right? So we're going to quickly talk about Module 4, because it's really easy, I promise.